What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, the kind of funny world champion, Greg Miller.
We're proud
Thunderstruck.
All right.
Thunderstruck.
Well, all right.
Thunderstruck. Over here, the old loser, we call him Nick Scarpino.
Okay.
Remember when you had this, Nick? Remember before party mode, IGN versus Kind of Funny? You remember that one, Johnny Ace? You remember that tough guy?
I mean, not really, because, I don't remember when people cheat. It's not a big...
Well, there was no cheating. It was all skill, sir.
Well, it's a lot of people on Reddit are saying that it's... people are starting threads on
My
Reddit.
valet, Kevin Coelho,
with
taking
all
it the glue.
There's an asterisk by this one because it wasn't actually me playing with Johnny Ace. We know that.
You know what? You decided to play under a moniker. That's fine. When Mankind has the world title, but Dude Love comes out to defend it, that happens. That's just how it is.
Brother
What are
love,
do?
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Brother love indeed.
I do.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I like this Henley look.
Yeah, thank you. Every once in a while, my wife reminds me that I do, in fact, have more than just black T-shirts to wear.
Sure.
So she'll throw this out there and be like, hey, you should wear this today. I'm like, okay, cool. I will.
How often does she dress you?
As often as I ask her to.
Okay.
And that's every day. And then she says no most of the time, but every once in a while. I'm like, babe, can you pick me out an outfit? Like, make me look cute.
That's cute.
She's like, I don't have time for that.
I like that a lot.
I don't know. You're a man. You're a
Yeah.
fucking grown man.
Yeah.
But I like, because when it inevitably happens anyway, is I put the outfit on and I walk out and I go, do I look cute?
Yeah.
And within
Let's
1
just cut out the
second,
middleman.
I know if she's going to say, I mean, my wife's very honest with me. She's like, no,
Yeah.
that's a bad outfit. It doesn't look together. It doesn't look right. Now,
But she
granted,
picked it out?
no, most of the time we are shopping together and we implore what I like to call the D strategy, right? Which is
Tell me
this.
the D strategy.
The D strategy, which I've learned from my wife, whose first name
her
starts
name's
with
D.
D. Yeah. Is
I believe it's
you
Dylan.
only it is Dylan. It's Bob Dylan, actually. We just call it BD. Here's the strategy. Only buy clothes that match. So she only buys clothes in
Wait,
Heather
that
Gray.
match
Match
to
to
everything
what?
or match to each other?
So you
Each
just
other.
buy one outfit at a time, is what you're saying?
No. When you buy an
He's
outfit,
saying that it's just
keep
everything.
it in the same color, the color
Profile. Yeah.
So largely a lot of Heather Grays, a lot of blue jeans,
Yeah.
a lot of jeans that so whatever you do, more often than not, you're going to pick a combination that matches. We don't go if it is a wild color, it's got to be so wild that it doesn't match anything, like as an accent, right?
Right.
So she has like one sweatshirt that's like coral.
You
It's
have like a
Adidas
pale
sweatshirt.
yellow sweater shirt,
No.
right?
No,
It's
you
gone
used to.
anymore.
She's
No,
gone.
I'm saying you had it.
That one got
so that
thrown
makes sense. That was one of your wild cards.
Yeah, that got thrown out.
You loved it.
Yeah, we miss
Like
it.
if you look at my closet now, it is all of our black shirts, 5 Heather Gray shirts, a couple of this color shirt, which is a neutral gray.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I was
then-
gonna say a dark
Blue,
blue.
yeah.
no.
I mean, sorry, excuse me.
Heather
Neutral
blue.
blue is what I meant.
Yeah.
And then you've got basically my dressier shirts that are all, again, same variation of the same thing, grays, blues.
It's a good way to live.
It's not bad. It takes a lot of the guesswork out. I also have this thing we do, which is another weird idiosyncrasy, which is not so much me, but the universal we only keep a specific amount of hangers in the closet.
Sure.
So that if a new shirt is purchased, an old
One
shirt
in, one
must
out.
then go.
One in, one out.
And
like
my
that.
wife, she always does this thing. I'm like, we could buy more hangers. We bought them at IKEA. And she goes, we'd have to go to IKEA. And I say,
You
we
can
could
go to
order them
Fuddruckers, though.
online. And she goes, no.
You go to Fuddruckers. you go to
Fuddruckers
IKEA.
is over by IKEA.
You guys want to do it?
Yeah.
Run a Fuddruckers?
You say the word, I will take you.
He loves IKEA, obviously.
I love IKEA.
He took me there when we were moving.
I don't love IKEA anymore.
What?
I like the balls, the Swedish meatballs.
Oh my God,
Sure.
yeah.
They got
I was-
cheap candles. but
Remember
you
when they
burn
had
good
horse in
candles.
them?
Who cares?
No,
Horse is
hey,
a fucking
no, you
viable
misunderstood.
meat.
You
Why do-
misunderstood. I did not care.
Yeah.
But for a minute, everyone was like, "Ooh, we accidentally put a horse in it."
I mean,
sorry.
it's good
People
protein.
As
freaked
Americans,
out.
we got to get over it.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
100%.
You know what I mean? If we're gonna eat dolphin, we should be able to eat horse. They're just.
I
the
had
same
dolphin last
species.
night, and I'll tell you, I felt good about it. We are weird in this country with meat, though. Like,
Yeah.
not eating a horse, but eating a cow. It's like, what is the fucking difference?
Yeah.
What is
How do you
the
guys feel
difference?
about goat?
I'll eat the shit out of a goat.
I don't know if I ever have, but I
Fuck do I
would.
care?
I don't
It's
care.
good.
Yeah.
It's a different texture,
Yeah.
but it's good.
I don't care, man. I'll eat a dog.
I'll tell you what, though, cooking it, ooh, there's a smell.
Oh yeah.
Lamb too.
Lamb has that smell.
yeah.
Gamey.
But like people say that, but like when I cook lamb chops and stuff, I don't smell it.
Oh man, I like doing the shanks all the time.
Yeah.
Ooh, you open that package, it's like whoa.
Oh, so you mean before it even cooked? I thought you were saying that the process
Once
of
it's,
cooking.
Once it's cooked, no. Well, no, there's no smell with my cooking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just packaged.
You ever? When's the last time you opened a piece of meat and it was bad?
Oh, Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
It happens 1 out of every 4 packages. I open it up. I go,
Yeah.
You ever-
and here's the problem. I go, I'll cook it out.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, it's a little
You're like,
gamey.
you're like Frank Costanza in that Seinfeld.
Yes.
I use the
Ooh.
right amount of spices.
Yeah.
The last time, this is a horrible story. I get this like organic ground beef at Trader Joe's. So I'm like, okay, it's organic. I like that. It's usually like 85% beef to fat ratio, which is great. It's usually good. But one, I shit you not, every once in a while, it's always Trader Joe's. I'll get it. I'll open it up. It's a little too gamey, and I'm like, maybe that's just me being. I smoked for a lot of years, so I can't really smell.
I have a terrible sense of smell too.
And my wife is always like, everything that you cook, she hates like a red meat. So anytime I cook anything, she's like, that smells horrible.
I
Get
got the
away
same
from
thing
me.
going on with Paul being vegetarian.
But this last time, I think it was about 4 weeks ago, and it was a Sunday. I'll never forget this because it was a Punchline night. I wanted to go to Punchline.
Yeah.
I cooked this meat. It didn't smell right. It didn't taste right either. After I was done cooking it, I was like, I should stop. But I'm in a hurry. My routine's going.
No.
I get halfway through to the first mic that I'm supposed to go to before, and I got to stop off. I start getting the squigglies, the squeegees, where it's like,
No, we got you. Yeah.
Go to the mic. I'm getting the sweats. I'm getting like the cold sweats.
Shit.
My friends are like, you're
when
not
you get
looking
the sweats,
good.
yeah, you're done.
And I have to think,
It's an
I'm
hour
like,
on the toilet.
can I shit this out, or does it have to come out the other end? Do I have to make myself throw up?
God.
What'd you go with?
I shit it out. I just was like,
Okay.
I can't. It was one of those where I'm like, I gotta
Did you
listen to my
make the
body.
show?
No, I went home.
that's
I
sad.
did the mic, bombed terribly, said my goodbyes to the host, got back in the car, crossed my fingers that I wouldn't shit myself
You can make
in
it.
my car.
Sure.
And then got home, and it was just like maybe every hour, every half hour, I was like, go to there just as a check.
I'm of the same thing. As much as
bad.
I love cooking. I don't know if you know this about me, Kev Dog.
I didn't.
And here's your full introduction. The glue, Kevin Coyle.
Oh.
We said it earlier, but
Yeah,
I
I thought that was
talked
it.
over it. We were
No,
I
it's
want to
fine.
make sure you get what you deserve. You know what I mean?
Oh, man,
I'm
that
always
was-
afraid of
very
killing
fun to
myself, Jen, or whoever I'm cooking for.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's always
Yeah.
the big concern.
I want to say you're a little bit too afraid.
No, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I worry out there all the time too when we grill
I-
and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Better
And
to be too afraid.
But it was that thing where everyone says that you're too afraid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously have experience and all this stuff, and I'm always worried about, does it smell right? Just come over here and smell this. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
yeah.
And so I had some pork chops the other day that I opened up that I had bought, I don't know, on a Sunday, and then we were cooking them on a Tuesday. Like they should be fine.
See, that's where I start getting super paranoid. How I start Googling how long
Yep.
can
Oh,
pork
yeah,
chops
totally,
stay in the
totally,
thing
totally.
for?
So it's
How
super
long can
disappointing,
chicken?
the numbers here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
but I opened it up and I was like, "Ooh, this doesn't smell right." And I'm like, "No."
Pork has a weird smell too.
I know, and so
That's
that was my
tricky.
thing of like, no, I don't smell well. It's in my head. I'm not gonna worry about it. Did my thing, cooked them. Then I noticed they weren't cooking right. I wasn't getting even temperature throughout. I'm like, that's not right. And so I had one, and I took it off and cut it, smelled it, put it in my mouth. I'm like, Jen, come over here. And she smelled it. She's like, this does not smell right. And I'm like, all right. And she's like, I thought
throw
it
it.
smelled. I'm like, all right, throw this the fuck away. I forget what we did next.
Yeah,
but-
because my thing is, you know me, I'm
Yeah.
weird. There's multiple times in this
No,
office
you?
that I have thrown up.
Yes.
Because I thought maybe I was going to be sick. So
well,
there's
yeah,
a
you
lot
definitely
of it.
psych yourself into
Yeah,
throwing up
so that's
more
my
than
thing. Is like,
know anybody
I
else.
sometimes I go, Nick, don't do this. The meat's fine.
Yeah.
Just eat it.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if I'm psyching myself because you could probably legitimately like freak out and give yourself a stomachache.
100%.
So I always
I think
wonder about
a lot
that.
of times you puke. I think it's because you make yourself puke.
Probably.
It's like me with the bowl.
No, the last time I puked was because Tim's driving sucks.
Sure,
We can all
okay.
agree on that.
Yeah, it's
if you've
terrible
driven with
driving.
Tim, he's the worst driver on the
It's
planet.
upsetting.
When he parallel parks, he is a good 15. He's in the middle of the road.
That's why he
It's
lets Kevin
Tim-
do it.
Exactly.
Which is weird, but cool.
It was weird at first, and then I saw him try to parallel park. I was like, just call
He
Kevin.
hasn't let me do it in a long time.
Just call Kevin. Speaking of which, Kevin let me ride in his car.
Yeah. Oh, the new one?
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah.
I like the all-wheel
The
drive
Goat-mobile.
feel of it. We call it the goat.
Yeah.
Just the goat for
Okay.
short.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
what we call it.
And when we get in, we go,
Meh.
meh.
There it is.
Or is that a sheep? What's a goat sound like?
Real quick, going back to
Right? We all seen the video.
going back to this food. Interesting this comes up because yesterday
Yeah.
I was like, it was Monday. Yeah, I wanted to start my diet again, trying to get back on track because
Okay.
I've gained a lot of weight from after the wedding.
Sure. Have you hit a year yet? No, you're coming up on it, right?
No, not even close, dude. It's September.
Okay, not even close.
I have no
2
idea what
months from
month.
now.
I have no idea what month it is.
It's June.
Is it June?
You're close.
Okay, yeah. Wow, right.
Yeah.
Went fast.
Yeah.
So I want to do my normal breakfast, which is 2 eggs
Mm-hmm.
and 2 pieces of bacon.
I thought about you today because I did that.
Oh,
Yeah, I made
good
bacon.
stuff,
I
right?
wanted bacon for lunch in my salad or whatever, and so I made bacon this morning, and then I made 2 eggs. And I was like, "Oh, this is a Kevin breakfast."
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
put it up on Instagram. You didn't comment. I'm like, "Well,
I haven't looked at Instagram today.
It's fine. You don't care."
I will. And I looked at the eggs.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I went shopping. I'm not gonna lie.
Eggs last a long time.
Eggs on there. The expiration date was May 30th, and I was like,
yeah, I couldn't do that.
"It is June 4th."
I don't know. You could probably do
so
it.
you
But
knew the date
here's
this
the
morning.
thing.
It's only 6
What?
days
Oh,
over.
so you knew the date this morning?
Yesterday. This was yesterday.
Oh,
You're not
sorry.
listening. It's June 5th today.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the 4th. Get a watch.
I'm just saying earlier you didn't know what month it was, but yesterday you
I don't
found
know
out
what
the
fucking
date.
day it is
Yeah.
either.
And then,
I always think it's Friday.
I wish.
I made the eggs.
Yeah.
I made a little sausage, and I was like, "Am I gonna do this?"
Yeah, you
Sausage patties or links?
Hot link.
Okay.
Sliced it up,
Sure,
real
sure,
nice
sure,
little
sure,
pieces.
yeah.
Good stuff. It's good breakfast.
Yeah, you're talking about.
And I ate it, and the whole time I was like, "Man, is this right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
am I
the
gonna be
worst.
sick?" And I
Yeah.
spent like a good 3 hours after that being
Yeah.
like, all right, is it coming?
Yeah.
Like, am I gonna
Yeah.
just fucking shit myself?
Yeah.
Nothing happened.
I think 3 hours
So
are good.
that worked out.
3 hours usually like you should know.
Yeah, no,
Because
that's
usually the
yeah,
first
yeah.
hour you can start
And
to be
then
like, I don't feel so
This
good.
morning,
Yeah, I don't know.
One of the eggs walked away.
Bucci?
no. Paula got me new eggs. I threw out those old ones. Can't risk life, you know?
Sure.
But this morning, I go and grab my bacon because yesterday, as I mentioned, I ate hot links instead of bacon.
Yeah.
And same deal. Bacon, I bought
Oh no.
at this point, maybe 2 weeks ago. But I'm like, bacon, cured meats, it'll be fine.
No. Yeah.
On it says June 18th.
Uncured?
And I'm like,
Oh, you're
that's
fine
it.
then.
Yeah,
Oh,
it should be
wow.
totally
Yeah, wait,
fine.
whoa, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I pick it up, give it a good smell. It ain't right. But I'm like,
So, but that's the thing.
I'll cook it out.
Last time I went to Trader Joe's, I bought a bunch of this turkey bacon.
Yeah.
And one out of the 3 packages, they all said the same, just didn't look right.
Yeah.
Like I looked at it, I'm like, the
And
color of
bacon
this is
doesn't
off.
look right.
Yeah.
It switches.
Yeah.
Bacon.
It's a
The
different
bacon
beast.
I cooked today. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I was like, this texture
I'm like,
doesn't
I don't
even
know
feel
if that's right.
I cooked it the whole time I'm cooking it. I'm like, well, there's a real weird vinegar smell coming
Yeah,
out of
that's
this
bad.
thing. But I'm committed, you know?
Yeah, you
Oh,
come
man.
this far.
I prepped everything, dried it all off, sat down, eat it, grabbed the slice, give it a smell, and I was like, no, can't
Yeah,
do this.
can't do it.
Threw it
Bad
out, threw
idea.
out the rest of the bacon. So I'm really proud of myself. That's a big,
Good
job.
big deal. I was going
Good
to force
job.
it down.
Yeah.
I do this thing where I Trader Joe's also for breakfast sometimes. If I don't have time to make breakfast, I'll buy these pre-cooked, pre-hard boiled, pre-packaged eggs.
I love them.
They're great.
Delicious.
But you have to be very careful because they'll last a while.
Yeah.
But the second you open them, the clock starts
starts
ticking.
going, yeah.
And you only have 3 to 4 days before you're getting the smell bomb when you
Are
open
they
that
not
thing up
individually
again.
wrapped?
No, they're in a bag.
Yeah.
And you open them up, there's 6 in there.
Yes,
And I
yes,
usually eat 2 a day. So by
Yeah.
the 3rd day, I'm like, they're fresh, they're fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll forget how long they were in there, and I'm like, do I take the chance? And you open it up, and it just fucking kills the room. It is like a fucking raid, man. It is bad. Bad. One time the worst is when those go bad, like if
Yeah.
there's a puncture in it, or if they just didn't package them right. I had 2 eggs that they looked good. Ate the first one, totally fine. Bit into the second one, and it was slimy inside. And I was like, I gotta throw up into my own hand on this one. I was like,
no,
"Ah,
can't do
Jesus
that,
Christ,
can't
what
do
is
that,
that? I was
can't do
driving
that.
at the time. I was fucking craned into a
Oh my
bum.
God.
It was bad. It was bad.
The eggs that I made, undercooked them too.
Yeah.
So when I cut open it, a bunch of like
Yolk?
still uncooked. No, the
white stuff,
Yeah,
like
white
the-
stuff
yeah,
came
yeah.
out, and I was like, "Fuck."
I don't do that. Oh man,
What, how
don't-
are you cooking them? Sunny side up? Are you doing like you poaching
Over
them?
easy, no,
Okay.
both ways, both
Are
ways.
you when you scramble? Are you like it has to be
Oh, I don't
cooked all the
scramble.
way through? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big scramble guy.
Yeah, but
And
you
this
go
is
soft
this is the
scramble?
only problem I have in Europe
Sunny side up or die?
is that everywhere you go in
Oh,
Europe,
it's like a soup.
they like to do the soft scrambled, like not well done egg, and I always forget it the first time, and I get it, and I'm like, oh, I hate to be that asshole American, but could
can I
you
send
please
this band?
remake these and cook them a little bit more because I just
It's
don't like them that
chocolate
soupy.
bleh.
And they go, "Wah-wah-wah-wah-wah-wah-wah," and then they go back and they just
So offensive.
spit in my eggs.
No, they're too polite over there. They want to do that.
I'll tell you the best breakfast I've ever had in
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
Me and the missus.
Yeah.
We go to this.
D.
We go to this little
Bob
place
Dylan.
in Denmark.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the small town. But we go. We sit. It's this nice hotel. It's like an old castle. We sit there. She sends me down ahead of time. I go down. I find this night. It's like
The missus
overcast.
sends you down.
The missus is like, I'll be down there. It's like, go get a cup of coffee. I know you want to just go down. You get Nancy. I go down. This indoor patio that's like kind of like they have the little drapey things down
Yeah.
that you can see out.
Yeah.
It's like it's cold outside. It's overcast.
Sure.
We're about to go out there and get bundled up.
Sure,
but I'm
sure,
sitting in this beautiful spot overlooking. You can see the bay.
Yeah.
I think Sweden's in the background someplace,
Sure.
whatever the fucking country is over
Maybe
there
New
with a bridge.
Zealand, yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's all the same over there. And I just sit and we had the most delightful breakfast.
Was the food great or was it the view and the ambiance and everything
food
else?
was fucking fantastic, and here's why. In America, we are fucking scared of sausage. We are. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna
not.
fucking say Americans
And suck it
run
down.
around,
Right, yeah.
and the biggest fear we have in this country are sausages. Okay, pork products we don't like. We hate them. If you put them in a little sock and cook it, Americans we fucking run away. Okay, in Europe, head on. Sir, what can I get you? I was like, oh, can I have some eggs? First question, not toast, not fucking fruit.
Sure.
Can I bring you a side of bacon or some sausage with that? You want some sausage? And I'm like, is it weird to have both? And they go, no, you're in
That's-
Europe.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
And
cool.
I go, dope. And they bring it to you and and they're not, fuck this side of bacon, 2 little tiny things of bacon that look like they've been cooked yesterday.
Yeah,
they brought me
yeah.
a bowl of bacon.
Yeah.
And I got out of there
Yeah.
and I was touching, I was fucking
You're
just
lubed.
secreting
You're
grease for
lubed
the
up.
rest of
Yeah,
the day.
yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
You're like bacon guy from the MCU interview.
Now you say, Nick, if what has strength also has weaknesses,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like flip side of that coin, what's the
squeegees?
weakness? drip coffee. No drip coffee.
Yeah,
That's
do
a
you want a
bummer.
long black or whatever?
You want to? It's an Americano where they're like, we're just gonna pour you a cup of fucking espresso
like,
with some water in
you're
it.
like, this isn't what I want, man.
Go get fucked, Europe.
Go get some Folgers instant crystals. You
Pour-
keep them in the back there, and some moron like me rolls in. Just make it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
When Tim and I were
the
down
coffee
in,
there was actually really
for
good.
RTX City, when we were down there trying to get a fucking normal cup of coffee, it was like, jeez, all right, give me a long black, whatever the fuck this is. You know what I want. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
At this point,
It's
most of
similar.
them know.
Here's the thing:
Cup
is
of
that I
coffee, they
feel
go,
like
"I got you, dog."
The way European countries or other countries, I guess in general, just treat coffee is the way we treat the metric system.
Yeah.
Where I think us not adopting the metric system pissed everybody else off enough, where they're like, well, we're just not gonna have regular coffee anywhere.
Yeah, but I feel like
But
us
here's-
not adopting the metric system has caused
That was a really bad idea.
yeah the Mars thing to just
We fucked up.
fucking crash into Mars.
Well, that's why they're mad at us and they're punishing through coffee.
I just don't understand.
Joey!
I don't understand how drip coffee is still like such a big business when like 90% of the world doesn't drink it. Like,
Well, they use the coffee beans for other stuff. Cool, Reggie, you can help
what,
me
like hiding
otherwise.
cocaine, like in Beverly Hills Cop?
Well, no, I mean, like, excuse me. I need one of your help. All right, we've been talking about coffee, so now my coffee tooth is tingling. Can you go to my desk and get me the green thermos on the floor and bring it here?
You're still going at
Thank
it with
you.
that thermos?
Fuck yeah!
That's
I'll tell you what,
insane.
dude.
It's lasting,
The
dude.
shout out to your Stanley thermos.
Yeah.
If you want to know, like,
Where did you get that?
so it's from right outside Napa. There's that when you're going into Napa and you
Dean and
take
DeLuca.
you take that right on that one or two lane
Saratoga.
road, and there's that little diner.
Calistoga.
That little
Fremont Diner.
Yeah, Fremont Diner. That's
I've
it.
always wanted to go to that.
It's great. When
They just repainted it.
When Jen's family was up here, we went there the first time we ever brought them to wine country, and we stopped there, and it was such a lovely time and such an amazing thing. We bought the little thermos, Jen and I did, because we're like, we'll go on hikes, we'll do all these different things. And thank you so much, Joey. You're the best.
This
Well,
is
that's the
the
ca-
for
no, I got
audio
it.
for
Just
audio
where?
listeners. Greg Miller has bought himself a literal. I'm building in New York in 1920s fucking Stanley
like,
thermos.
I want you to know
Thermos.
that. I want you to know that when I hold this, I made the coffee. I was gonna make the bacon for the thing. I make the bacon. I'll make some eggs. I have a breakfast. I'll make some coffee too. I make too much of the French press coffee, which I love. And then it was like,
I like
fuck.
how we just talked shit about Europe, but that's all French press coffee.
I know. Everybody knows we're joking around. I was like, we made too much of it. I made too much of this. Jen's out of town. I'm like, I can put it. I have a swell bottle that I sometimes fill with the coffee and bring
Love
in,
the
but
Swell.
Not enough liquid in that bottle.
I had way more. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh wait, I got the Fremont Diner thermos. So I went over there, washed it out because I think Jen's used it once on a hike or whatever, and then I did it, and then like this is such a weird callback to big old Greg Miller, #1
Dude,
crane operator.
yeah.
He had this exact, not the
see
one
this. Can I
branded
play with
Fremont.
it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, he had a little handle on it, and he took it to up into his crane every day
This-
and drank a thing of coffee
Kinda
all day
funny.
long, just like me. Except my dad was a real man,
Yeah.
doing a real job,
You are
and I'm here
gigantic
like
man boy.
I'm so tired getting ready to go to LA and see video games.
I have to look
Oh,
at. I know.
me and my friends played too much Fortnite last night. I'm all tuckered out.
I didn't
was a
sleep
lot of
well
Fortnite,
because the
though.
pizza I ordered didn't settle. I'll tell you one thing right now. This is man shit right here. Like when I say man shit, I mean of course we're
And it's
including
still
women
so
as well
warm.
who work really
it's
hard.
still like I just made it.
Insane. Great
but
technology
it just
there.
has like that. It's
It's a weapon.
It's too
you know
heavy.
What I mean? That's the thing. Is
You
it's
know,
a fucking
it's
full-blown
almost like
weapon.
it's a burden to carry around. That's our parents'
Throw it at
generation.
Joey's head as hard as you can. It's
Joey,
gonna hurt her.
Push your head out. Let me
Push your head
Oh,
out.
she's doing it. I love it.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game
We're not
Over
to that
Greggy
yet.
show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 3 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get each and every episode early. How early? You can watch us record it for just $1. That's right, $1 on patreon.com/kindafunny. Keeps the mics on, shows you appreciate what we do, and gives you access to watch the streams of us recording. Of course, if you go up there, you can also get it early, a full week before anybody would get it on youtube.com/kindafunny. You can get the big old video, the big old MP3. The big old video comes with the pre and post show that the live show does as well. But I digress. Nick,
Yes, sir.
before we started talking about squeegees and coffee and my
Yeah.
dad, you wanted to talk about this Star Wars movie.
I had a serious topic today. We read this on the morning show, but I wanted to get y'all's take on
actually
this.
talk
I wanna
about
make-
it, right?
Yeah. Kelly Marie Tran, who is the actor who played Rose Tico in The Last Jedi.
Finn's love interest, kind of.
Kind of.
Ah, that's such
We don't really-
bullshit.
well, let's okay. This is what I want to get into on this, right? it came to light today that she took herself off Instagram. She deleted all her posts on Instagram and was like, I can't do this anymore.
Is there a statement somewhere from her? Because you asked me about it. I looked into it. I saw now the articles are all about the groundswell of support and everybody being like, fuck the trolls or whatever. But did she put out a statement saying
I don't, as of this morning, I did not see that. The only thing that she had said was there's a quote, or the profile says afraid but not going to quit or something like that.
Okay.
Not going to stop. And so conservatively, I'm sure she just needs a break from social media, and that's fine. But the more, I think, damning thing, or the thing that scares me a little bit more, is that people can actually harass you so much that it forces you to do this. And I just think this is really, really sad. Yeah. And by the way, I should preface this entire statement with, I did not like her character in that movie, and I did not necessarily like The Last Jedi, but I still don't feel like the punishment on this one is fitting the crime.
100%.
You know?
Well, there's no crime, right? She portrayed a character you didn't enjoy in a movie you didn't enjoy.
Well, the crime is the character sucks.
Okay, but again...
No, I mean, like, but that is why people are upset. We know that, like, that's not really a crime, but, like, people are...
Okay, just making sure we're being very clear as we start into a serious topic where we're not mixing words and being our normal...
I'm gonna while you guys talk, I'm going to Google and see if she had released a statement real quick.
I feel like Star Wars famous for doing this.
Daisy Ridley did the same thing, right? She deleted her Instagram. She left
she?
Instagram.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, making characters that people hate and, like, I don't want to say ruining careers, but really putting a bad spin on people's careers. Like the kid that played Anakin. He got bullied a lot.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel, but I mean, like,
oh, that poor kid.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this story is that, and this I think speaks volumes of how fucked up everything is right now. Does this surprise anyone?
No,
like,
that's
you know
the
what
sad
I mean?
thing.
Like, does this surprise anyone? And
Right.
I don't. I mean, I think we all have direct parallels to this in everyday life, right?
That's
like,
true.
No.
Well, not
Kevin
me, because
shakes his
people
head no?
know that I'm the champion. There.
Yeah,
No, you're not. I mean, I'd beat you for the
It's
championship, but I mean,
great.
like, what? I mean, no matter what video I'm in, there's going to be a mean fucking comment at the bottom
Always
that makes me want to
sucks.
quit. You know what I mean?
Always, yeah.
That's what it is, and that's how it is. And again, I'm not saying this is right, but what this always speaks to is what it always reminded me about Gamergate. Is when Gamergate popped up, and it was people who, like, keep in mind, like, my perspective on online communities and comment sections and everything else, right? When I put up my first review at IGN, and not everybody, but the vocal minority was very much like, this guy fucking sucks. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Can't believe they hired him. He's a moron. They should fire him. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I remember walking over to Roper's desk and be like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, what? And I'm like, the comments, they're saying I should get fired. I thought I knew and he's like, don't listen to the comments. They say, go read any of the reviews. They all say that.
Yeah.
But you don't think about the human being. And it's like, oh, and then it was, tempered steel at IGN into YouTube, into us. Of just like, yep, no matter what you do, you're putting out a product that is yourself.
Right.
And some motherfucker does not like you because of X, Y, and Z. And they're going to make a point about it, and they're going to say it. And when I go into the YouTube comments in our videos, if I go into the YouTube videos, comments on the GameSpot thing that went up today for E3, if I go to our own subreddit, someone is somewhere in some of those threads is going to say something that's...
just picks at the fucking core of you.
And it's like, there's so many things. And like, so like Gamergate was the thing of, wow, watch people, I want to say personalities, watch people who haven't had that level of being put under a microscope, immediately exposed to it. And that's why this is the same thing.
Yeah.
Of, hey, I'm an unknown actress.
I've done like one thing
or actor.
before. Sure.
I've never done anything with a Star Wars fan base, right? To go into that, to get into that world, to come out and be like, she was, what was great, and what was her name? I'm sorry.
Kelly Marie Tran.
I know her story from when she got the role, when she went to the premiere and broke down, when she saw the girl dressed as her, the fact that, she was such they were championing it as such a great, minority role, that it was, expanding the universe, showing people could do that. Like, I remember that part of the story when it was coming out, but I mean, again, doing what we do for 11 years, I was also like, well, somebody should sit her down and be like, you can't read the comments.
Yeah.
It's just a vocal minority.
They're
going to say this whole thing. And then it just gets into the fucked up shit of like, what happens every time, right? Yeah, that thing keeps falling off on that. Nick gave me a busted fucking belt.
Well, it had its run.
Crazy glue.
You know
it had
what I
its
mean?
run.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But it is the idea of taking someone who, and I want to make sure I'm being very clear and not mincing words. I'm not saying this is their fault. I'm saying, or anybody in the gamer, I'm saying like, anybody who is not exposed to this on the daily, right? Like I remember everybody at IGN when you hire somebody new talks about the comments getting them down until they have to realize that, oh no, we've all done that. We've all been there.
For the 1 or 2% of the audience that doesn't remember the ins and outs of Gamergate, walk me through that.
Oh no, that's a Jesus
don't go
Christ. That's a Pandora's box of a whole
You don't
other
want to
thing.
because I remember it
like,
shifted from like one message to the other message at a
well,
certain point. It was just fucking super
for me.
negative.
It just goes back to in general, like it's when we say don't go into the comments and don't feed the trolls, right? And when we say don't go in the comments, we mean don't feed the trolls because anything you do for someone who's trolling you or being an asshole is acknowledge they exist, and then that shows that they're into it.
They
right?
gives them the power.
So like with
That's why I'm
this
just-
or with us or with Gamergate or whatever, and like again, I don't want to go into Gamergate because it's kind of like it is a
Pandora's box.
It's like that
shit.
It's like the Simpsons where when they ask Apu like on his citizenship test like what caused the Civil War. And Apu's like, well, there was a million, and the guy's like, just say slavery. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, Gamergate doesn't mean one thing in any way. I mean that people who are living normal lives and aren't online personalities getting propelled into this. And my immediate reaction, if I was next to you when that happens, if I'm next to any of the people involved, would be like, don't fucking say a word. Don't talk back to them. Because when you engage, you're feeding the fire. You're giving it more oxygen.
And honestly, I think I don't think it's unfair to say that we've all had moments like that here over the last like 4 years where someone says something and your first reaction is like, I'm gonna take this gun off my hip and just immediately shoot. Yeah. Like just shoot straight from the hip. And everyone, it's nice that people go, no, let's just take a walk outside real quick. And you come back and you go, all right, whatever. It's not that important.
Sure. But it beats you down. It wears you down. I can understand where she's coming from.
Oh, totally. But I mean, I can't even imagine, like, we've never done anything nearly on the scale of a Star Wars movie, right?
Nowhere near.
And like, I remember the reaction I had coming out of it, and specifically to that character, which I felt was just a complete, total throwaway character.
Yep.
And then, but the thing that I think is interesting to look at is my first reaction, of course, is they've ruined my childhood in Star Wars, right? I'm never going to love this anymore. And then you start to realize, well, for every person that didn't like this movie and that didn't like that character, there's probably another person who really liked that movie. Sure. Like half of my friends, actually more than half my friends, really enjoyed the film. And the ones that didn't necessarily enjoy the film were like, oh, it was fine. Yeah. Like that was their reaction to it, right? And so it's so interesting to think like when you're in that rage moment, like everything is subjective. And you might think the sky is falling, but just remember, if you don't like something, there's probably someone on the other end that loved it.
Sure.
And so that balances me a little bit, because what that says to me is like, oh, I'm just bringing something different into this film, right, to watch, and this didn't vibe with me, but that doesn't necessarily make it good or bad or right or wrong. It's just something I didn't enjoy. And there are some films that are universally trash. We can go down that fucked up Wikipedia if you want.
Batman and Robin.
You know what? Funny though, there are some people that enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, but those people have probably been kicked in the head by a mule.
Probably.
You know what I mean? They probably just were raised wrong.
A lot of
I just feel like
movies fall in that
it's one of those things where like I talk a lot of trash about The Last Jedi, but there is a line for me, right? Where as a person who my full-time job is basically giving my perspective on things, I enjoy dipping into that like, we're going to screw with this movie for comedic effect for a large portion of it. And then I always get a little heated, and then I try to bring myself back. But I would never think to go on the actor's Instagram and leave a shitty fucking comment to them. I just wouldn't do it.
It's because you're a normal person.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people don't know where to draw the line, and often they don't realize there's someone reading. Or, you know what? I don't even think it's they don't realize. I don't think they care that there's someone reading that.
Oh, they care. They want to get to them.
Yeah.
It's a shitty
But it is
thing.
the thing of, they don't understand that it's a person just like them. The way people talk about us, you know what I mean, is totally devoid of any humanity of, oh no, I bet that Greg's walking Portillo right now while he reads that I fucking don't like him because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'll take a shot at one of the co-hosts because of X, Y, and Z, and like think that that because we are so busy and we are traveling the world and we are playing games. You are in fucking Star Wars, right? Like I can. It's a tired story of me and the whole like. I was going to talk shit about The Office, and then I deleted it because I realized, no, they're just like us. I bet at some point someone on that show would look at Twitter and see that and be like, oh, that fucking sucks. And it doesn't matter the amount of... You lose sight of it so quick, just like I'm sure she has in a way, in the fact that, so her personal Instagram's getting raked over the coals with people being like, you suck and you ruined this movie. Like, it's taking for granted the amount of people who saw her in the movie, did enjoy it, and don't think to say anything positive. Just go about their lives, because it's not how it works.
Right, and that's the problem. And that's like over the last like few weeks, I've put out a couple tweets that I was like, I'm going to try something new for me.
Yeah.
which is for no reason. Just tweet out something incredibly positive about someone to them, or just say, hey, what's going on? I hope you're having a good day. And it's such a fucking better headspace to be
100%.
in. Because, and this is the message I want to get through to a lot of people who are listening right now, is there is a choice, right? You can choose to be a negative shithead and be in that world, or you can just be like, you know what? That wasn't for me. I'm going to go find things that are for me.
Yeah.
And I understand with something like Star Wars. Star Wars happens to be the upper 1% of things that people really get crazy about. And I'm that person. I'm one of those people who up until The Last Jedi was like, this is my childhood. This is all I had when I was an overweight child who wasn't very active, didn't really fit in anywhere that I could think of. And Star Wars was like my escape from my mundane existence of fucking uselessness when I was a kid. That's how I viewed myself. I don't think my mother would say the same thing, but you know, when you're a kid and you don't necessarily, you're struggling to figure out where you fit in the world, it's nice to empathize with these characters. And so coming off of that and seeing the series take a different turn, of course I have a guttural reaction to that. Of course I feel that I'm hurt and spurned by that, right? But at the same time, I'm like, isn't it much better to be in a place where you promote positivity in your own life and by virtue of that, promote that in other people's lives? And the answer is absolutely. Absolutely, you know? And it's one of those things, like I tweeted at Judd Apatow because I was watching The 40-Year-Old Virgin. And I was like, you know what? I've slammed Judd Apatow films for being too long, but I'm actually enjoying this because I can pause it, I can walk away. I watched it in like over a 6-hour span.
It's like a Ken Burns documentary for
well,
you.
You know, to be honest, like the movie's about 20 to 30 minutes too long.
I really enjoy it.
Of course,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
one of those
yeah.
things where I'm like, in the theaters, I'm like, I can feel the time passing. Same with This Is 40, where I'm like, it's a long movie, but if I can watch it over the span of a weekend where I pause it, go do a thing, come back, oh yeah, I want to watch this while I eat dinner, whatever. That's great. Tweeted at him, super positive. He responded. I'm like, this is
that's
how,
really cool.
Yeah, he
That's how
quote
it
tweeted
works,
it.
man.
And I'm like, this is how this should go.
And
And then,
not-
of course, the top comment in my response was something shitty about how I complain about it being too long. But I was like, I'll chalk that up to humor.
Yeah, that's something we struggle
That's my
with.
bad.
No, yeah, it's something
Probably.
we struggle with the best friends, with the audience, is the fact that I've said it before too, but we say something on a show and we give each other shit or this, that, and the other. We
Yeah.
have a thing, and then we say it and it goes into the pipeline of content to get to you on the other side of the camera, on the other side of the earbuds, and so it's a week later and I'm not having a bad day or whatever, and I go in and somebody's giving me shit about something else. I'm like, what are we talking about? Like,
Yeah.
why is this? And
Yeah,
you're like,
what the
oh,
fuck
right.
happened?
But it happens all the time. Of like, you know, I try to be. I mean, I try to be a positive person. Period.
Yeah.
I try to be a very positive person on the internet, and like it's better now. But when I first made that choice, it's a very much a choice,
for
right?
sure.
Of starting to do that, the amount of times I would tweet at like not like period at, you know what I mean, like I'm trying to get attention for it. Tweet at somebody who's in a movie that I'm watching. Hey, you were great in that movie. Or the responses would be like, fucking trying to get a retweet or whatever, fishing for. And it's like, no, I'm like trying to compliment somebody.
Right. You're
you
like,
know
I
what
have
mean?
1.3 million followers. I don't need more retweets. You're good.
No, I do need more retweets. Please retweet everything.
No,
I do.
stop
You know what I mean?
retweeting him
Please.
and-
especially
and
the video I
stop
put up
supporting
today
him
where
as
I
the
was
champ.
talking
He's our
about
champ,
how
dude.
I'm
He's our
a-
champ.
Thank you
He's
very
someone-
much.
I'm so
Greg.
proud of him.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Cool Greg, too. I'm glad to see you're on the train as well.
Cool Greg said, and under no certain terms would he ever support you as champ.
But it's like, you know, it's such a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've been this week active in our YouTube comments because like I know like most of the time they're fine. Sometimes they get out of control, and so like we've been putting up stuff, and I found myself with an hour, or not an hour to kill, but like in between E3 phone calls or in between this thing, blah blah blah. I hop in there, and like it's been stuff lately we've been super proud of. You know, the party mode's been awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're getting ready to put up the X-Men one we like, and the Mizzou stuff last week, all that jazz. Like to be in there and do it, and when you leave those things unattended, yeah, they have a tendency to get out of control.
Right.
And when the normal people out there watching this video or listening to this podcast, when the people who enjoy it, oh, that's a fun thing, watch it and leave, I'm not going to go in the comments because the comments are terrible. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy that then if all the good, rational people who enjoy something aren't going to go into the comments, aren't
Right.
going to go onto the subreddit, aren't going to do this, then it just does become like, man, all anybody does is complain.
complain,
And it's
yeah.
so hard to remind myself, you guys, anybody making content that like, no, it's just that negativity is what spawns those kind of discussions.
Yeah.
When people aren't happy about something, they're more likely to just come in because it is weird for many things to be like, you know what I love today about this thing? It's much more, you know what
Right.
pissed me off today? This is what it's gonna
and
be.
it's cathartic, and a lot of people that's how they you know,
get satisfaction
cope
out of
with
it.
the world.
Yeah.
You do. It's validating to some degree to get
Right.
like all of us at a certain point have been walking together and been like, I'm gonna bitch about this thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. and you have your friend and you bitch and you go, I got that out. And then you have time to reflect and go, you know, I don't really feel that way about this X, Y, and Z, what it is. I think I just needed to get
it out.
Get processed.
Gotta get the poison out.
I got to get the venom out a little bit, you know, and that happens to me all the time. I do that all the time. Sometimes I do it in my car to myself. I'll be like, I'm really pissed off about this one thing, and I'll talk out loud.
Well,
and
we talk about writing out a comment, right, and deleting it.
Exactly.
That's a better way to do it.
But I see it all the time with the morning show, where you know, if someone leaves a really positive comment, it's a reply, and it's always positive.
Yeah.
It's so
you can get
yeah.
in there and nudge the conversation. This is the thing that like always doesn't blow up in our face, but people get really pissed off about on subreddit again. And I'm not railing on subreddit. Congratulations, 15,000 subreddit people right now.
that's
Good job,
exciting,
best friends. Yeah.
really like our
but the
subreddit.
thing that'll happen a lot of times there is someone will leave a comment that they're mad about something, then they'll get downvoted. Then they're mad now that they got downvoted. So now it's this authoritarian thing where, oh, we can't talk negatively at all about Kind of Funny.
Right.
And then immediately the message is lost that, no, you're allowed to be, you can be as critical as you want as the content. You can sit here and say you don't like Greg as the host because of he's
Have
not
reasons,
on this, that, and the other. It's just not when like, oh man, Greg doesn't have a thought in his head. He's a moron. It's like, well, no, that's fucking you being a douchebag. And
Yeah, that's not accurate
That's not
at all.
encouraged. Well, no, some of that was accurate about what they said about me. But like, no, it's not accurate. It's not how we're gonna have this conversation. But then it's what you're talking about of like, it's this weird line to walk where we're in the internet. Hey, we're all in this one place, whether it be the comment section on Twitter or this thing, talking about Kind of Funny, talking about this movie because we love it or we're passionate about it or whatever. But to come in and vent and blow it off, it comes off differently in a written comment form than if it was you talking to Kevin. And you just vent, and then you're like, you know what? But I'm just mad, and this is what's really happening. It's what I'm really upset about.
Oh, sure. And you know, honestly, some of it is like I'm not going to sit here and argue like we're public figures. We shouldn't be criticized or people shouldn't have their opinions.
But
of
that's
us.
the whole problem. I'm saying is like there's such a difference between criticism and I just fucking hate these people.
Right, and that's I think to the driving point of why I wanted to bring this topic up today because there is a difference, and like I think you can be constructive or you can get your point across without having to be negative or dipping into what unfortunately she had to deal with, which was straight up harassment.
Sure.
You know, when someone starts leaving comments about the way you look or things they want to do to you sexually, like in a negative way, that's just fucking, that's just horrible. And that's terrible, and that shouldn't be the case. You know, for us, like there's a little bit of toughness that you have to do this because we are here to entertain people. We are here to be that sort of sounding board for wherever you're at, right? If you need to be entertained, you get a laugh, you come to us. Yeah. And if you're not necessarily getting what like in the same way of like I went to The Last Jedi wanting more Star Wars, it didn't necessarily come through with me. You know, there is a conversation to be had there of like, oh, well, I'm going to give Ryan Johnson or the people who are listening to me my criticism of the film so that maybe in some way that radiates and changes the next one that comes out and I get what I want. Yeah. But when you don't get what you want, you have two choices. You can whine and scream and rage, or you can just move on. You know, and that's the thing that's hardest for people to understand is like
moving on.
And I
is
think
tough.
moving on is tough because moving on means you have to take action. Not taking action is you just get to yell, right? Like yelling's easy. Making a change like that in your life is a little bit harder.
Letting go is really tough.
It's tough.
Like letting go, where it's like, like moving away from something and being like, all right, maybe this world is not for me anymore, and that it's something different,
right?
You know, and that it is easier to be like, no, I'm right.
Yep.
You were wrong.
And that's the thing about fandom, right? Like you talk about like the Thundercats reboot that got announced, right? And everybody freaked out about the art style. And then I remember when they changed the art style for Ninja Turtles and the Ninja Turtle movies. And it's just like people were so mad at the Ninja Turtle movies. And it was just like this argument of like, well, I understand, but maybe it's not for you. I understand you grew up being a Ninja Turtle fan, but you're a 35, and I'm talking about myself, you're a 35, 40, 34, 33-year-old man at the time.
Right.
Maybe this is for the children to go enjoy and get their own Ninja Turtles.
Are you talking about the TMNT animated movie?
No, I'm talking about anything in fandom, but I remember the actual live action Ninja Turtles movie.
Okay, the latest one.
Yeah.
Y'all got jokes, that one. Yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, I hate to say it, but the first one was a lot more entertaining than it had any right to be. But
I liked two.
Dude, I liked the first one.
You remember me and Cool Greg liked it when we left that screen.
I think I kind of liked two also. I hate
But
to
it
say
was the same thing of like where I was just like, yeah, it's a fucking stupid cartoon.
The problem is this, right? Is that let's take Transformers, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Those movies come out and they are so different than what the original series was that I'm not sure. I'm sure there are plenty of kids or people that liked the movies.
Yeah.
And, the first one and second one, not too bad. But then you see, Tim and I watched the trailer for Bumblebee today, right? And Bumblebee is a much more faithful.
Looks cool.
I heard you guys getting all excited.
Yeah.
Well, like if you look at the actual character design, if you look at the feel of the movie,
Looks closer to what
he
it
looks
should.
way closer to what Bumblebee should, and I get the goosebumps.
Yeah.
And granted, of course, I get goosebumps because I remember from the 80s.
Yeah.
If you were born in the 2000s, you're probably
this
like,
one
what is
set
this
in the
shit?
80s too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Okay.
And it looks cool. And I think to myself, this is the problem, right? Every time they do that, everyone that hated the Transformers movies goes, well, finally they got it right. And then everyone that loved them goes, why are they messing with my childhood?
Yeah.
And so that's what the thing you have to constantly remember is this is all subjective.
Yeah.
Right? There are always two sides to every coin. Where like, I love some movies that are just terrible films, but I love them because I just find something to love about them. And so you just have to like kind of think to yourself, like, is it really worth spitting out this negativity, or should I just? And that's the thing too is like I'm guilty of it. It took me arguing and almost yelling at people about The Last Jedi to internalize the fact that I need to move on from the series. It's just not going to be for me.
It's so disappointing to like hear you say that.
But what does move on mean? It means you're still going to watch them all.
I am
in
going to
theaters
watch
opening
them.
night at 7
have
o'clock.
that excitement.
Of course, I went and saw Solo.
Yeah.
I saw it opening night. Of course, I'm going to see them opening night. But my expectation of them is not going to be the expectation I had when I was a kid watching, the Return of the Jedi for the first time, right? Like, oh my, like, or the expectation of, actually, to put it more modern time context, The Force Awakens.
Yeah,
sure.
Seeing that movie the first time, crying when I saw the Millennium Falcon, crying every time fucking Harrison Ford said anything as Han Solo. That was a very powerful thing for me. That time has come and gone.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen again, or at least not for another 20 years. Sounds like Disney, they've got a lot more plans to make more Star Wars. We'll see if they keep making Solos or Force Awakens. We'll see what happens.
Well, Ryan Johnson's got a trilogy coming out too, right?
Yeah.
So
And I think, and it'll be his.
see.
And that's
I mean,
fine.
like that's
That's
what's
the
cool.
biggest
I'm
thing,
more
yeah.
interested, in it being not part of Saga, where it's its own little thing that's
Right.
filling the universe in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Be cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the most important thing.
So, but I'm, of course, be cool. But I don't think we're talking to, our kids aren't the ones who are harassing
Yeah.
her. Or whatever.
No.
But
Do you think it gets to a point where movie stars or whatever you're coming onto fandom, they'll be briefed on the fact that they're going to be held to this thing, that they're going to get everything picked apart for the rest of their life?
I think the smart people are the ones that realize their celebrity can endure regardless of social media and just probably stay away from it.
No,
because
but
I
that's
feel
the
like
thing,
you're
social
giving
media is
someone
so
a conduit.
important.
It is, but I feel like you're giving people a conduit to just fucking ruin your day. And like,
But that's what.
can you exist without it? Yeah. And there are people that aren't. Like, I looked for, when I tweeted at Judd Apatow, I looked for Paul Rudd's Twitter. I'm like, oh, he doesn't have a Twitter.
Yeah.
He's fucking
Crazy.
Ant-Man.
That's how you know you're super famous.
Yeah.
You don't need a Twitter? Well, fuck
That's
me.
what I'm
All
talking
right.
about.
Jeez, goddamn. All right.
But it's cool when people interact. Like, how cool did you feel when Judd Apatow
oh, fucking, I felt, it made my day.
It makes you feel
it
amazing.
made my day.
But I guarantee you, he enjoyed it. Like when he did that, he was like, had that moment of like, yeah,
cool,
fuck
yeah.
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 And it's like, I think that the solution is like, you gotta learn to ignore the negative and bring up the positive and be like, hey, these people are awesome.
And to be clear for the people who are already writing their negative comment about you right now, not ignore the negative constructive criticism.
No, yeah,
not
no,
ignore
no,
You
I'm
say
ignore
too
the
much. You
assholes.
do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ignore the people who are like, I want to fuck your feet. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever.
I mean,
listen, if you want to
fuck,
fuck, if you want to fuck Kevin's feet, please leave that comment on this right now. And actually, in fact, if you leave the comment, I want to fuck Kevin's feet in a positive way. If I feel like it's positive, you're getting a little smiley face like from Kind of Funny.
Oh wow! Look at that. Yeah.
We'll
We'll see if you remember.
8 weeks from now, whenever the fuck this goes. By the way, we should know we're recording this on the
Friday.
5th of June. In case the story progresses at all, I don't know if she's going to come back or whatever. If you're like, oh, she's already back, then
I mean,
we're
I think
assholes.
it regardless of. I mean, I think she will be back.
Oh, of
And I
course she
think
will.
Regardless of that, it's still a worthwhile topic in terms of.
Oh, for sure.
It sucks that in modern day, this is something you have to worry about, right? John Wayne didn't have to worry about this.
It's-
Mark Hamill didn't have to worry about this.
No, it's
But,
just
like-
so weird to me
No, he
that
doesn't.
like,
Yeah.
well, he is now, yeah, but it's just so weird to me that people, and I understand it, but I just don't understand how it goes on this long. I get it if it's the first week, and the movie's not what you wanted it to be, and you're like, I need to process this and rage at something, and I'm like, I'm not excusing it, but I'm just saying, months later, this is still happening.
Yeah, but this is
Like, what the fuck do you have not going on in your life that you're still so pissed about The Last Jedi being bad that you have to leave a fucking comment on our
series
Instagram?
that has existed for more than 40 years.
Sure.
That people really, really care about. And lots of people like us didn't come out happy. And
Sure.
it's one of those things. We are rational adults that make good decisions. We're telling people, hey, go make good decisions,
Yeah.
you know? but like there's many people that just don't think that way. And that's the problem.
It's
like
so fucking weird because and that's the
But
thing
it's a
that I
learning
always think about.
process,
It
you know?
is, and it takes people talking about it, and that's why I'm glad we're broaching the topic right now. And we I think we touch on this like every 6 months, but I think it's important to talk about.
It's super important.
But it's just so fucking weird to me. I rip on Mark Wahlberg a lot, right? I do.
Yeah,
it's full,
I
man.
do. And I probably rip on him too much, but it's fun for me.
I'm sure.
I don't think he gives a shit.
But that's the thing.
He made $68 million last year.
You
He's
do
gonna
it
be fine.
differently.
You see his movies.
It's
I love
for
Mark
you-
Wahlberg.
For you, the Mark Wahlberg is a bit.
Yes.
Like ripping on him is a bit. You're not going to his Twitter.
But
and
that's what I'm
hitting
saying,
him
like-
Kids
up.
are ugly.
I would never think about like first off, I would never think about going to his Twitter and be like, hey,
Yeah.
I didn't like you in X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
because I don't
Who
dislike
the fuck
him.
cares? Yeah.
Secondly, it's just one of those things where like if Mark Wahlberg were sitting here, I would never think to say I wouldn't
sure.
think to say I would never be like, dude, you're fucking terrible. I would be like, let's find some positive shit to talk about Mark
Yeah.
Wahlberg because he's clearly made a fucking huge wave in the entertainment industry. I'm sure this guy's got a lot of interesting perspectives. But like the fact that people feel it's okay to just be like, I'm gonna fucking shit on you right now because I'm never gonna meet you. You're not in front of me. It's just like it's unacceptable.
Well, that'd be too easy though, right? If people could just understand.
Plus, Mark Wahlberg.
What's it like
punched me
to
in the fucking
talk?
face.
What would I say exactly? How would I talk to a person in real life? I should probably comment that way. I should probably have those conversations
way
that
too
way.
much time.
That's too much thought. Nobody wants to do that. They hide behind their weird ass usernames and anime, whatever,
anonymity.
cartoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The avatars.
It's just weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
a
know.
weird world though. That's what it
It's
is
a
now.
fucking
You know what I
weird,
mean?
Wacky world.
Yeah.
But like, I can't even just imagine like what that must like feel like where you're at that place in your life where you're like, I'm gonna leave this fucking horrible comment on this girl's Instagram,
Yeah.
and then just I did. Like, what do you feel like after that? You feel validated? You feel good until it has to happen again?
I
like,
doubt they feel like someone
It
doing
doesn't
that
do
doesn't
anything,
feel-
yeah, I don't
it's
think-
just like, all right, I responded to that one thought I had.
but do you think it's that? Do you think it's that, or if you think it's we're so disconnected from each other that people don't even think it's real when they leave those comments?
I think they don't think it's real. Again,
think
I don't.
so.
I think
I
that
mean,
for
don't even
90%
think
of
it's
the
just
people
nothing.
who
Leave
are
it go.
leaving something that mean and being that big of an asshole, they're like, well, her publicist will see it and she'll never see
Yeah.
it. She doesn't. She's a movie star. She's not going to pay attention to any of this shit.
Yeah, they see it.
The amount of people who like, again, and I'm not trying to make it about us, but when I favorite a tweet and someone screen caps it and tweets, oh my God, Greg just favorited a tweet. It's like, I'm like sitting there taking a shit. I'm like, yeah, like, oh yeah, like
we see
I
it.
see everything people tweet at me. Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
you do. You're religious about
Yeah.
that stuff. I don't know. Just food for thought, I guess. I mean, I see it myself too. Sometimes people will leave a negative comment on a YouTube video, and I'll start typing, and I'm like, wow, that was really mean. Delete.
Yeah.
Sorry you feel that way.
yeah.
You know.
Well, just ignore it, even, right? Like, I mean,
I ignore the ones that are straight up insults,
Yeah.
or where I feel I'm like, wow, you're being abusive or assaulting,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like, or you're crossing a line here where you're just being like,
you've missed the narrative. Yeah.
yeah, you're not trying to be constructive at all. You're just trying to fucking fuck with us.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a response at all.
Yeah.
So if you ever see a comment that's like, it's like, I like the one above and below it. Yeah, we saw that fucking shitty comment, but we chose not to interact because why would I?
No
Why
good's
would I
gonna come from
validate?
this.
Yeah, no
You've
good's
already
gonna come from that.
you've already made your choice here.
Of course.
I can see what you want to do here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
But man, those good comments, they're great. You know?
Well, my favorite are the ones where it's like, I'm gonna fuck with you a little bit, but it's in good humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the hardest thing to peg. And maybe to give the benefit of the doubt to a lot of people out there, maybe they do think that that's where they're trying to be. Where it's like,
no, the ones that are
They're just
are
assholes.
bad
I know.
are
You
clearly
can't do it.
bad.
Yeah, they're
there's
fucking
no like,
dicks.
there's no getting around it. You know what I mean?
you
It's
leave just
seriously-
an abusive comment there, you're just a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Food for thought.
Food for thought, indeed. While we're talking about good people, let's thank all these people from Patreon who
Oh.
supported us. Let's thank Patreon producer Tom Bach.
He's the best.
Let's thank our sponsor, Simple Contacts. I'll read that in a little bit, tell you about them later. But now, on top of that, let's continue the thanks. We're going to read a topic. We had a topic submitted, everybody. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Amar, did Amar give no pronunciation guide here? So I'm going to say
guide.
She Trapple.
Nailed
She
it.
Trapple.
Nailed it, actually.
Amar
That's
Shri Trapple.
exactly right.
Crushed it.
Says, beyond the positive and negative, what is reality?
Woo-hoo!
We got a fucking philosopher over
That's
here,
a
Nick.
tough question.
Beyond the positive or negative?
Does that first part make sense to you?
No, not at
Me
all.
neither. Okay, did it make sense to you?
Yeah, I think so.
What is it? What is that? What is reality? I got. Okay, let's talk about
Yeah.
that. Beyond the positive and the negative, what is
I
reality?
took that as like beyond like good and evil kind of things. Like what is existence is
okay.
kind of what
Okay, that's a better.
to
that's a little bit
me the
lens.
question means. Like
Sure.
what is this that we're all
Sure.
experiencing
Yeah.
together.
Okay.
Like ignoring the like God, the devil, all that stuff. Like,
this is gonna get spiritual for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I think I
Where
can't ignore
I
that.
think that we who is it? Dude that runs Tesla.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk
Oh, is
has
this a
that
simulation?
famous question: is this a simulation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
called
like,
simulation
how
theory?
would you know?
Sure.
I've thought about this question a lot, and I think that that's what this question is too. What is
Okay.
like, what is reality?
What is existence?
Yeah. What are we experiencing?
What is reality?
Yeah. And here are my thoughts.
Here we go, Kev Dog.
I
Kev.
don't think it matters.
No.
You know what I mean?
Clearly
Whether we're in a simulation, whether this is like the dream of one giant, you know?
Let me ask you a follow.
It's a Game of Thrones.
Let me
Game of
ask you.
Thrones
okay,
reference,
okay,
Game of
okay.
Let me ask you a
Thrones
follow-up
reference.
question.
Yeah,
to
keep
this.
rubbing.
At the end of the Matrix.
Yep.
Yeah.
When everyone got out of the Matrix,
Right.
were they really happy to be out of the Matrix?
No. Plug it
Because
back
that
in.
fucking
But that's the
underground
thing.
world
They
sucked.
had the option.
Yeah.
They had the option to stay in it.
I'm hitting the fucking stay in button.
Oh my God, lots of people are. Hopefully.
There's a great this question. The simulation question is, I think, summed up in Matrix 1 perfectly, where he's eating the steak and he's like, I know
Yeah.
this
Oh,
isn't
it's
real.
such a good answer,
I
yeah.
know I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, exactly. Is
Cyrus,
So,
that his name?
the virus.
yeah.
No, that was from fucking Con Air, but I think his name was Cyrus.
Yeah,
something like that.
I'm pretty sure it was Cyrus.
He's also from Bad Boys. He's the captain of Bad Boys. Woosah.
Okay.
Woosah captain.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Bad
good.
Boys too. Bad Boys too.
So I think reality. I don't think that our minds are built to really conceive it, and if it's real or fake or it doesn't matter. We're
Yeah.
all here, whether it just be my universe is the
Yeah.
only one that exists and my perspective is the only one. It doesn't matter because like you have the same thing going on, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to put a pin in that. Wasn't Cyrus the virus John Malkovich?
Yeah.
That's not who this was.
No,
In the
he's
movie.
Cyrus.
No,
was his
I just
name,
said
though.
Cyrus,
Was
and then
it-
I said Cyrus the virus, and I
Thank
said
you.
that's not the right character.
Thank
That's
you.
from Con Air.
Just
Was
making
it,
sure.
what's it?
Yeah, caught
What's
up.
it? Cypress? His name doesn't matter. Doesn't
I'm gonna
matter.
look it up.
Yeah, no, that was the thing for a long
Yeah.
time. Long
It's
before
Joe
Elon
something.
Musk popped
Yeah.
up with this question, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and got it popular. We're always thinking about this and talking about this. Because, again, spiritually, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was always talking about heaven and hell and all that jazz in school growing up because I went to Catholic school, kindergarten through
Right.
till I went to college. And so there was always this thing of what is reality and how does it work? And the fact that only I know how I think
Right.
and how it looks and what, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it's like inside of your brain, right? And so Poe used to always give me shit because I would eventually, without saying it, tip around the point. He's like, he's like, you think you're the only one who lives, aren't you? You think you're the
Yeah.
only person in existence right now. And I'm like, I don't know.
It could be, though.
But I could
Yeah,
be right.
yeah.
This could be a reality built solely around me. And I don't mean that in like, oh, I'm fucking the number one
Right,
anything.
right.
But I just mean the fact that I don't know what any of you think,
Right.
feel. What do you do when you leave my
Do you
peripheral
perceive
vision?
the color? Like, is your version of the color blue?
Yeah.
My version of the color red. You know?
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Sorry for
Yeah.
the interruption. His name was Cypher. Was the name of it.
Cypher.
It's Joe
That's a much better
Pantoliano,
name.
and that's fantastic. Cyrus the Virus, in fact, was from Con Air, as was that horrible wig that what's his name wore.
Nicholas Cage.
Great movie,
Nicolas Cage
Connor. Great movie.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. I don't know. I just feel like there's some things we're not really meant to understand. Right? We're not
think
really
we ever
meant.
will?
No. Not clearly not in our lifetimes, and maybe not in the
Yeah.
next like 100,000 years. I think the human
I don't
brain
even
is
mean
just,
though as like, do you think we'll ever know them as a human race on the earth? Do you think you'll ever know? Do you die? You think you figure it? Is there some kind of like after credit scene that tells you something about this?
I don't know. I mean, I think that what makes life special is that we don't have the answers to everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
I think that we're never gonna. The human brain is never gonna be able to comprehend how vast our galaxy is, let alone the universe.
It's
right?
always expanding, right? What the fuck does
always
that mean?
expanding. Universes within universes.
Makes no sense.
All this stuff that starts blowing your mind and starts making you think like, wow, we're such a small speck of dust on the anus of reality. But at the end of the day, it's so big, it's so vastly overwhelming that you just have to think to yourself, exactly what Kevin said.
Yep.
Why
That's-
bother thinking about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Why bother questioning reality? I like to think of it more in terms of like the reality of the day and age versus the reality that we want to make. And I think about this a lot. I think more politically, right?
Okay.
Where you think about what's happening in the country, you think about the fucking chasm divide between Democrats and Republicans, and you think about all these issues, both socially, politically, fiscally, all these things that we face, and how there's a reality to what's happening, and then there's the reality of the world we want to live in, the one we want to make for ourselves, and how do we rectify those two things? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect example is like the idea between of like a Caitlyn Jenner, for instance, right?
Sure.
Of like everyone accepts her as a female, and then there are a lot of detractors who are like, no, she's a male. She's always been a male. She's always going to be a male. Yada yada yada. That is what I always find a fascinating debate, of like not to get too far down the rabbit hole of biology versus like how we see each other, but there is a difference between, yes, that is a reality and we have to acknowledge reality, but we also have to take it upon us to go a step further and say, what is the reality we want to live in? What is the reality your kids are going to grow up in? How do we start shaping that reality for them now? And that starts with belief, that starts with faith, but there's a weird gray area in there, right? Like how do you look at something and go, I know that thing is blue, but I want to live in a world where that thing is purple. How do we start working toward that? And am I right or am I wrong? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That weird murky gray area where the discussion's supposed to be happening, where most people just aren't having discussions, just fucking yelling at each other on Twitter about it. That's the thing I'm most fascinated with these days, is like, especially as a comedian, right? As a person who goes up there in a very subjective art form and gets to criticize things in a specific way that could be super hardcore or super fun. And like, if I go out and say something crazy, is that acceptable? Is that not acceptable?
Sure.
How do I create this own reality for myself, and how do I own that? And then how do I, go forward and present that to the world? I don't know. I'm getting off topic, I think, a little bit.
No, you're not.
No,
That's reality,
yeah.
right?
I think that,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's just, you got to do, just start doing, moving forward like you did. Like, start of what, last year?
Well, that's a perfect example,
Yeah.
right? Of the idea of going, I'm not a comedian,
Yeah.
but I want to be a comedian.
Yep.
So now I have to go out there and make that a reality
yeah.
for myself.
And
How
you
do I
put
do
a
that?
lot of work on it.
You put a lot of work on it. You face a lot of self-doubt. You face some detractors out there who will actually tell you, like, you're going to quit. You're probably not going to do this forever, because I've quit things before in the past. And of course, I quit stuff. That's what you do. And then 2 years later, you come back and you're like, wow, I'm trying it. I'm trying to make it work. But I don't know. I always find that fascinating when you watch a CNN and you watch an MSNBC and you see all these people's perspectives, and what they're trying to do is a combination of digest what's happening, but also shape your reality and your perception of the event so that they can shape it to whatever their reality they want it to be. And that's it's always fascinating. It's this fluid thing, right? You look at one story on Fox News versus CNN and you see different totally vastly different takes on that.
I don't know if they're trying to shape what they want you to think. I think it's more of they want you to feel like they're the most in the know.
Sure.
And I think
Well,
that's a
he's
little
saying
bit
that they have
different.
narratives, right?
Yeah, there's a
narrative. There's a
They're trying to
perspective.
they're trying to
Yeah.
shape the way you think about something, which I agree with.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like I disagree with that. I don't think that people are trying to.
You don't think it's Fox News and the way they'll spin a headline or what's
But
happening?
I think that they're
narrative
trying
they'll
to
tell.
spin the headline so that you think like, oh man, this is the channel that has the real news.
That's fair. But I also think there's an
and
agenda.
I think that there's a difference.
I think there's an agenda for
I think
sure.
that that's so like.
Well, here's the agenda,
You know-
right? Here's the agenda, and this is why there's an agenda, because there has to be, unfortunately. Because the reality of the world we're living is that if they don't have an agenda, if they don't have perspective that sells, they don't make money. If they don't make money, they don't stay in business.
again-
That's why a lot of people. Anna brought it up. I was like, you don't. I was joking around. I was like, you don't strike me as a Fox and Friends. Like, you don't strike me as a Fox viewer. And she goes, no, of course I get all of my news.
She's like, I don't watch cable news in general. She said,
I
right?
watch
NPR.
NPR. I was
Listens to
going to say PBS, but NPR,
Yeah.
right? Of course, I think she's on
God,
one
I
of the
enjoy
NPR
NPR.
affiliates, which makes sense.
great stuff.
But that's a perfect example of like the people have to go out and support that. And so, of course, when you have these things that are free to watch, they have to be as dynamic as humanly possible. And I think that's why you've seen Fox. I mean, Fox was specifically designed to be that. Fox. They came in and
Alternative,
said, we are going to be the more right-leaning network because there's nothing but liberal news out there.
Yeah.
And they've been very successful doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Fox is better
But
or worse than
yeah,
anything else, by the way. I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying they're forming a reality. CNN's forming a reality. MSNBC is forming a reality. I watch these things and I think to myself, which one's the right one?
Yeah.
And it's the one you, I guess, choose. I mean, there is a truth out there somewhere, but a lot of things are
I
subjective.
think it's like what I'm saying. Like, these people aren't trying to convince you of something. They're trying to convince you that they are the most right.
Sure.
So they're trying. So
Well, every news outlet's trying to do that, for
picking
sure.
the right channel is just like which feels right to you, and then.
But don't you think that people I identify with this, so therefore, do you think it's that someone goes, I identify with this, so they must be right, or
Yes.
they must be right, so I identify with this?
They already have that inkling, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
pro-Trump or anti-Trump. They already
Right.
have the inkling to be liberal or conservative. They already
Right.
have that. So like to get in there and have some of it, I think that's what leads them to that. I don't think it's necessarily Fox or MSNBC or whoever is taking someone and bending them in a certain direction. Probably is over time, but I think
for sure,
I think
over time.
I think it starts with you're already leaning one way or the other.
Right. I think about this in terms of like dieting, right? Like, to dial it back to the topic we were talking about before, where I go, when I want to do something, I go out and I find all the facts that support that thing.
Oh, sure.
Occasionally along the way, I'll see some stuff that maybe is not so good. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna look at that. I'm gonna look over here, right? Because
Yeah.
I want to go get validated for the thing that I know I want to do anyway. And I see that a lot of the times with people who like indulge in anything. If it's dieting or if it's like smoking weed or drinking alcohol, there's always someone that finds like, oh, like the funniest thing to me is always when people drink wine and they go, oh, well, it's really good for you because of the X, Y, Z. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but okay, sure.
That's what glass is not the same as a bottle. Yeah.
Right? And then of course, but I'm guilty of that as well. You know, I just did. When we were talking earlier, I was like, I did a 24-hour fast. Why? Because my friend lost weight on a diet, and I said, how did you do that? And he goes, oh, it's this great new diet. I'm like, sold. I'll try that, right? Starts with the 24-hour fast. Suddenly, I'm down the rabbit hole of all the science behind fasting and why it's so good for you.
Jumpstart your metabolism.
Exactly. And then, of course, I was at Clusterfest, and Bert Kreischer was talking about fasting. And it's hilarious because he's sitting there with his shirt off drinking fucking gin and tonic or whatever. He's gained some weight since the workout challenge that he did with Tom Segura. And he's talking about how he fasts. And Nikki Glaser, I think it's Glaser or Glaser, I think it's Glaser, is like, well, I used to be bulimic. And like I used to have, or anorexic, I think it was. Maybe which one's the one?
Anorexic is when
you starve yourself, right?
Yeah.
She goes, so you have to recognize there's a fine line between you saying to me this is good for you and me realizing that it was bad for me.
Right.
Like I did it too much. And it was bad for me. So where is that? Where is the reality of that? Right. Where's the truth in that? When there's so many different variables to deal with, where it's your body's different than mine, and you might metabolize something better than me, and maybe a fast is good for you, but not good for me. Like that, it's so hard to figure out where that moment of truth is, and that's why I think for everyone, we walk around, and reality is this totally subjective thing, and it shifts from day to day. And my reality yesterday was I was tired, and today I'm not tired, and yesterday I felt like shit and like a failure, and today, I mean, just using this example, I always feel fucking dope because I'm the true champ. Everyone knows it.
No, you're not.
Not anymore.
Party mode Friday.
But I just feel like it's a weird thing, and I think that's why you need people around you that can balance you out. I really do. That's why I really admire you guys and respect you guys, because whenever I start, like Tim's a perfect example. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with Tim where I'm like, this is the thing, and this is how it is. And how many times you hear Tim go, well,
Yeah.
and you go, oh, fuck, he's going to tell me I'm wrong. And then you have a choice of like, do I fucking fight with Tim? And every time I fight with him, I feel stupid because we've had a great conversation. I've grown, and maybe he's grown a little bit, even though he won't acknowledge that ever. But I feel dumb because I'm like, oh, I just wanted the truth to be this.
Yeah.
I wanted the reality to be this thing. And you, as my very close friend and my confidant, just told me, hey, I know you wanted that, but it's not that. As your friend, I have to tell you, I'm doing you a disservice if I let you live in that fucking fantasy land you're calling hope over there. This is the reality. This is how we face this going forward. And so I think it's fascinating, and I think it goes back to the internet commenters of like, maybe they don't have that. Maybe their reality is just sitting there on their phone, not talking to anyone in a job they don't like necessarily, and they're just going out there putting shit out into the world.
Sure, but it's interesting you bring up, building your own reality, right? We were I don't even know if I was out with Jen. I might have just been out to breakfast myself one of these days recently, and was sitting there and enjoying it and having a nice cup of coffee and having a nice breakfast and just like, all right, cool, and like looking at it, and it was beautiful. And it was just like, man, right now somebody's getting bombed.
Yeah.
Right now somebody's starving.
There's
right
still a
now
war happening in
there's
Syria.
all this horrible shit happening, and I just get to sit here and be totally oblivious to all of it. And it's like that thing of
A volcano just erupted in Hawaii, and
like-
another one in I forget where, but there's another one that just erupted.
and it's
and
one of
killed
those
like 60
what
people.
chooses what makes people act. You know what I mean? Like if there's somebody's bombing fucking next door or whatever, we'd be over there helping, moving stuff,
Fuck yeah, we would.
protecting your family, doing stuff. But like the fact that it's on the other side of the world, and like what am I shoot my money into
Something
the
that
Red
would-
Cross or
yeah.
something and assume it goes there and don't know what it does and how does it pay it forward? But it's
No,
like
we give our money to the Children's Miracle Network because we like to support the kids. That's
Yeah.
what we fucking do.
Yeah.
First off, no, I feel you with that, right? Like I think
What?
people.
it was an aggressive joke.
Yeah. Why'd you go to the champ for that?
I don't know where I was going with that. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No.
No, you're not. You don't have to apologize.
No, I saw a news story that I was going to talk about today on the morning show, but it was a little too negative.
Yeah.
Some guy took this poor woman, this Canadian woman in Italy.
Yeah.
Got off on the wrong side of the train, fell off, and like severely hurt herself. I think she got hit or something.
Yeah.
And but that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story was it's two paramedics tending to this woman who I think had to have her leg amputated.
Oh my God.
And one asshole taking a selfie with them in the background. And I'm like, where is your reality that that's acceptable? You know, like
Yeah.
what the fuck is wrong with you that you think
Yeah.
this person might lose a fucking leg? And I need an Instagram post about this.
Yeah, but I mean,
Go fuck yourself.
That the selfies, like that's validation, you know. Like look at this moment I experienced in my life.
But that's a perfect example of
that.
like, where are we as a society when we are, you know, I can't tell you how many times I criticize you guys all the time. Like you'll take a picture of your food and I'm like, you know, I do this shitty comment thing where I'm like, oh, you could just eat it. You know, you don't have to let everyone know about it. But
I like how you've never done this to me because, you know, I'll box your fucking
I think
ears
I started to you
I'll
and you
box your
just
fucking ears back.
fucking gave me that look you get when you're about to get real. You know what I mean? We're about to go and I'm like, it's going to happen. And then I remember the one time I tried to wrestle you and I threw my bag out. I'll never forget. You remember that time?
Yeah.
I picked you up. I was like,
just planted
big.
my legs.
He's big. I don't have this. It was like week 1 of jiu-jitsu like 7 years ago. But yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example of like, we all have this like curated reality online.
Yeah.
And that's different than real reality.
Sure.
Right? Where like, you're a different beast because you are an entertainer. People derive entertainment from seeing your meals, how you live your life. I do the same thing with guys like Joe Rogan or comedians that I follow.
But I think that's true for you too. If you start posting, hey, this is what I'm eating as your stories,
sure,
people would be like.
But the question is, and this is what I always grapple with, right? Is like, where's the merit of a person who doesn't do this as their job? Should I criticize them for like, oh, what the fuck are you doing? You showed me face, or are their friends deriving entertainment from that?
Yeah, that's
totally.
the thing. You don't know.
I
always assume that that's the case, even if their Instagram has 5 posts. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's interesting that you posted this, but I'm always like, someone must like it, or you must just enjoy.
It's just a digital photo
Yeah.
album for you.
Yeah.
Who am I to say what you should or should?
Well, it's harder with the Instagram stories, you know, because they don't last. But
But I like that because they're just now that I've started using them, it's like, oh, this is something.
Do you know
that's
that
like stupid.
they are
you can
all
see
backed
them all.
up? Yeah, it's
you can
crazy.
see them.
You can do. There's 2 options. You can archive them and actually put them on your page,
Right.
if you want.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
I've
I'm gonna
started doing
doing
that
that
as well.
because I think it's not. I think people need to understand the importance of Nick at Night when and if it happens again.
I was gonna say that hasn't happened in a while.
Nah, fuck no.
Bad
I've been
show.
burning out. I actually hit a point with comedy where I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta just focus and write more, especially with this project we were just working on
Yeah.
where I needed to generate. It was actually a very fascinating exercise. I had to generate like maybe 10 new minutes of material for it.
wow.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
But it was also like, and that's where I think to myself, I'm like, I kind of failed people who follow me because I want to share that stuff with them. But I have to draw a line of like Nick as the person who's struggling with this thing versus sharing this struggle with other people. Sure. At a certain point, it just becomes too much.
Well, like we've always said, right? Social media is a highlight reel. You know, that's
Yeah.
why you can't look at somebody's Instagram and be like, man, they have the perfect life. I mean, I think a great example would be Darshell, right?
Yeah.
Of like you watch Darshell's thing, you're like, oh man, fuck, she's in Hawaii, she's doing this amazing cosplay, she's naked for some reason. All right, here's the dog, here's her fiance, or they're married now. Here's her husband, Mike. Oh, I know Mike, but I'm just saying I don't know. It's all these amazing things, and then she'll put up things like, you know, I'm really struggling and I'm depressed right now, and it's like, oh fuck, like, you'd never know that from looking at all these beautiful photos she's posting.
It's weird too. She's a perfect example of like someone we met that was one thing, and then 3 years later is completely different online, right?
Yeah.
Like when we met her, she was helping to build the brand of Filthy Casual. She was dating Mike.
She did such a good job.
She's a phenomenal model and like has the look that perfectly sells the vibe they're going for.
Yeah.
But I remember meeting her at like, I want to say at PAX or something. Like I remember seeing you have a shirt. I think Jess Chobot had a shirt that Filthy Casual. I was like, what is that? That's cool. I want one. And you were like, you're not cool enough to understand it, so fuck off.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay. And then I went to their booth and they were like, oh, I know who you are. And they gave me one and I met Darshell there.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time thinking, I think I started following her on Instagram and she had like 2,000 followers. And then, man, what a shift in reality for her.
Well, I remember she started the Patreon. She's like, I'm all in on this cosplay thing.
And she's fucking gigantic now. And that's so awesome. And that's a perfect, like, that's so inspiring to me of being like, you put yourself out there in this thing that, by the way, is probably way more vulnerable for her to do than the shit that I do on a nightly basis where I just go up and tell dick jokes.
Yeah.
And seeing her figure out how to progress to achieve that goal of being that person now for other people, I think is fucking really cool.
Sure.
I think it's really cool.
You sell yourself short, obviously. I mean, that's what we've done here.
5'8".
Right? Yeah.
No. But I mean, that's the mindset I choose to have.
Sure.
I choose to have.
A lot of us will realities into existence,
Of
right? And
course.
my reality is completely willed into existence.
Oh, of course.
The 4th grade, I wanted to do the video game journalism or whatever you want to call it, and made it happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I'm very careful about how I think of things. And that's a very curated thing for me. It's just having the mindset of like, I have a tendency, and I know this is going to be shocking to both of you, to operate in like the polls, right? The far left or far right, not politically, but of like, I'm overconfident or I fucking hate everything, right?
Yeah.
And so I think to me, where I've noticed the best progression in my life, both professionally and personally, is being a little overconfident, but also as humble as humanly possible, because I always achieve something, but I've always got the next goal in mind. And so for me, I like to just have that mindset of like, cool, got that. Let's revel in this for a second, but guess what? You're not the shit. There are people out there that are better, and you need to let them influence you and let them inspire you, and like try to work toward being them. And I think that's like, dude, Clusterfest was so cool for me because my wife literally turned to me and she was like, I have never seen you geek out this much.
Oh, really?
Oh man, you should have seen the fucking attitude I copped with this poor person working at Bill Graham because I didn't know you were supposed to get tickets to go to the shows that were in there. I thought you just go and first come, first serve.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's so preposterous. And like, if someone pays $100 and say yada, yada, yada. And then she was like, sir, you can just go stand in the standby line. And I looked over and no one was there. And I was like, well, maybe I will. And prior to that, like as we were walking away, I was like, we're done. We're not going to do this. Cause I really wanted to see Bert Kreischer. And I was like, hurt. I didn't get to see this guy that I follow. We go stand in the standby line. There's 2 people in front of us and they take everyone. Then we just get to go in and it was super fun. But like, I walk in and my wife's like, you got a giddy look on your face. And I'm like, yeah, because this is a dude who is like, I've listened to hours of him on Rogan. Yeah. He's hilarious. And like the rest of the comics, they were great too. And like, that's just a reality I want to make for myself. And then my wife's like, well, you understand that people feel the same way, like when they have to line up for shit for you. And I was like, yeah, that's really fucking cool. But you never stop.
So amazing.
No, there's always a bigger fish.
There's always, it's not even a bigger fish. I just think I lived so much of my life purposely trying not to engage with people who were that I could feel could inspire me positively because I felt bad about myself because I didn't have that momentum in my life. And now that since we started Kind of Funny and we're doing this and we made this a reality for ourselves, it's starting. I'm like, I want to look for the next inspiring person. I want to emulate them. I want to see how they do that. And now I'm much more open to putting my ego aside and saying, you don't fucking know everything. You're not the best comic in San Francisco. You're not even the best comic probably on this fucking block right now. But look to the guys that are great at it and let them inspire you. Let them move you a little bit and maybe put a little fear of God into you and move forward.
Yeah.
That's on our end, not yours. If you were.
Oh yeah, there's
no
no
honking.
There's no honking.
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking your guys' ears.
No, you're doing a great job.
Greg's got
You're
that-
making this reality.
No, you got that glazed over look in your eye where you're like, Nick, stop talking.
No, I don't. No,
Okay.
You're killing it.
Yeah.
You're doing
No,
great.
no.
It's such an open-ended question.
Yeah.
Of what is reality. You know what I mean? And I think it's an interesting response that you can will it into existence. You can make it be what you want it to
Yeah.
be.
Well, I mean,
That's
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's like reality. I think the only one you can prove is real is for yourself, and it's like you have to. If you want something, you have to figure out how to earn it. How to get it. Work hard and make things happen.
A perfect example of that was we are over the weekend at Clusterfest. Tiffany Haddish came on, and I talked about this a little on the morning show, so I apologize if people. Of course, you follow every single thing we do.
Of course, yeah.
But Tiffany Haddish came on, and she spent the last 10 minutes of her, I think, 45-minute set talking about the power of positivity. Sure. And one of the things she said was, listen, a long time ago, I wanted to do this, and I just knew that if I kept working hard and putting positive stuff out there, it would come back to me one day.
100%.
And a perfect example is she was like, I love Groupon. Y'all know I love Groupon. I guess, I didn't know this, but she was on, my wife had listened to an interview with her on NPR, so she filled in some of the blanks for me, but she was saying she, I guess, was so positive about Groupon and tweeted so much about how she loved it. And she did the Greg Miller thing where she's like, I love this. I'd love to be this person for you. That now she is an official spokesperson for Groupon.
Oh, I saw a Groupon ad today on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the woman, but I thought it was like, I know you from somewhere.
Yeah, she's from Girls Trip. She's blowing up right now. She's
Okay.
having a year like Amy Schumer had like 2 years ago where she's
Yeah.
just fucking in everything. She's in the new, I forget what, I just saw another trailer where she was in. I think she's in Lego Movie, or the second Lego Movie. But that's such a fucking cool thing. And I firmly believe that it's kind of, I don't want to sound like metaphysical or like spiritual or like woo woo right now, but the idea of that your thoughts can shape your reality is, I think, a very real thing.
Yeah. 1,000% real.
Yeah, and if you're sitting here in a negative space all day long and allowing yourself to be in that space, you will only court negativity. You will just bring negative shit into your life, and that's it. Yeah. And it's same with the people you hang out with too, where it's like if you sit around, like I used to sit around a lot, and I love my friends, but I've had different groups of friends over the years. And I've had the friends when I was in my early 20s that were the hopeless dreamers, right? The guys that we would sit around, smoke cigarettes all day, smoke cigarettes all night, play games, have fun,
It's true.
and just dream together, right? And talk about what we wanted to do. But at a certain tipping point, that hit a point where I I was like, man, it starts to be negative because we're not doing it.
Yeah.
And then we get negative, and this
you feel
person
resentment.
sucks, and like, oh, that director's terrible. I'd be better than them, but you're not. 'cause
Yeah,
you're
you're
not
not.
fucking
Yeah,
they're
doing it,
making
right?
a movie. Yeah.
They've gone out there and achieved that. And it wasn't really until like the last 3 or 4 years of my life have been very interesting to look at because I think I'm a very different person. Largely because the risk that we took with Kind of Funny and forming all this has really just taught me like you can just go do other stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to put the effort into it and you're willing to keep your head in a positive place, you can come out all of a sudden with 233,000. I'm not saying everyone could do this, but like we came out with 233,000 subscribers, and the majority of our comments are positive.
Yeah.
On stuff. That's pretty fucking
God,
cool.
it's such a easy thing to be proud of. So much work went into it, but like, damn, it's so good. Like, you were saying earlier, like, oh, I'm sure you're aware of like this happens to you where you get the negative comments. Dude, for the most part, granted, I don't go and read all the YouTube comments. When I'm on something, I try to. A lot of positivity towards me. And
the positive outweighs the negative. I don't mean that. I just
Yeah.
mean the fact that there's always somebody trying to tear you down.
It's not this wall of negative for me. So it's like,
100%.
Man, I'm so happy and I feel so blessed that like when I go on Twitter in the mornings and I look into the feed, it's
what
overwhelming.
It's
positivity.
everything we always talk about, and you heard it a million times. Is that I'll go on my feed every morning, and sure, it's 50, 60 people in love with whatever we're doing, or just wanting to say hey and be part of what we're doing, or what I'm doing, or what I'm saying, or what I'm talking about a video game. And then it's the one negative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That takes a shot, and you're like, fuck, that one gets to me more than the positive, right?
Yeah.
And so then it's just death by 1,000 cuts, where it adds up, adds up over time. Right? Like, fuck, you know what I mean? You're just not in the mood for it.
Yeah,
and
but
it's so much of his energy, where you are. I mean, like, I never take it for granted what's happening with me or where we're at.
Sure.
But it's what you're talking about is, the power of positivity, and that is a real thing. And if you make the choice to be a real thing, and that's what I've talked about before, of making the choice of, for me, now what would Jesus do? What would Superman do? Right? Like, I want to be Superman, not in terms of powers or physique, but in terms of what I'll do, where I could sure, somebody wants to swing on me, they want to talk shit, they want to start I'm not going to fight. You can just wear yourself out, go ahead and keep punching me. I'm not going to swing back. You know what I mean? But like, that's a struggle because I'm not Superman. And it's a struggle for my interpretation of Superman. Hard. It's a struggle for him as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of like, that's just how it's got to be, is that you have to make a choice on who you want to be, and you have to stay true to that even when there's storms. And it seems like that's not that people aren't seeing that you're making the right decisions or whatever, or making the decisions that you're true to, and people don't understand what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's it gets progressively harder as you add in however many hundreds of people, dozens of people, thousands of people, millions of people, depending on if you're a giant star or whatever, of somebody second guessing everything, right? And like how that eats away at you or does this or whatever.
I can't even imagine. I mean, this is the thing with you is like you have like 100 times the following that I have. And you check Twitter and social media probably 100 times more than I do per day. So you're getting.
Well, I mean, that's why though, right? It's because
more.
I like that. Those forums mean something to me in a interesting way. I don't know. You know what I mean? Of like, I connect with it on a different level than you do. Where I guess you
really do.
I just feel it's just because me, it's a callback to who I am. And, you know what I mean? And like when I talk about it or whatever, of just like, I've been on the other side of the screen, not the asshole, hopefully. Well, no, actually, I've been an asshole on the internet before, obviously. But I mean, of being there, of being the only person in your friend group who likes this way. You know what I mean? The comment always resonates the most with me on a YouTube video or on a thing or whatever. Like on subreddit I saw recently, was somebody recently of just like, no, I come here because I am a best friend, because these are the only people who love video games the way I love video games. And that's big to be there for somebody. And so I want to be there for them on Twitter. I want to be on the subreddit. And like, it's, not a good or a bad, like I don't use Facebook, right? Like nobody uses Facebook.
It's so hard.
A lot of people use Facebook.
Actually, you know what's funny is
so
I've
hard.
used Facebook since I started trying to do stand-up. I've used Facebook more than I ever have.
Yeah.
In the last
Are
year.
you an expert now?
No, I don't understand. I still don't understand how it works. I don't like how sometimes
me
groups
out.
show up and sometimes they don't. It's a weird platform that has way too many options. 90% of which, when I click on, I'm like, I don't want to buy something on Facebook right now. They have a whole marketplace. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they fucking do. You can
don't
buy
know
shit on
anything about
Facebook.
Facebook
It's
anymore,
weird
yeah.
as fuck.
Yeah.
And the app is terrible. And the fact that you can't fucking message from the app on your phone is stupid.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is happening with this?
Well, they
And
wanted
it's-
you to download the second app.
Of course, and I have to. And now
And
I
you
have
did,
more
yeah.
Well, now it's
apps.
like invading Instagram, where I'm a big Instagram. I love my Instagram. I think it's just a fun, different way to communicate. I try to do the content varied. I like taking taking photos and trying to make it look different. And like yesterday, it popped up this little Facebook F with like 9 notifications. I'm like, what the fuck? And I clicked and it's like, we want to open Facebook. I'm like, the fuck you do? Fuck off.
Yeah,
We're not opening
happening.
Facebook.
Go fuck yourself.
Let that get to 1 million. I don't care. We're not going.
I know that's something we're gonna have to struggle with going forward. Is there's just that stuff's not gonna go away, man. And like,
but that's
thankfully,
fine.
well, yeah, but it's consolidating a little bit too, which is good. Because I mean, I don't know, is Snapchat still huge? Do people still use that?
It's gone.
I don't
Dead.
know what's happening.
Is it pretty
One of
much-
the Kardashian sisters killed it.
Did
What'd
she
she do?
Oh, it was Kylie, not Kylie.
Kylie.
Was
Jenner,
it Kylie?
Jenner.
Yeah.
What did she do?
Oh, she like tweeted about like having
She's like,
opened it.
I
in,
haven't
like, 3
opened my
months.
Snapchat in like 3
Stock
months.
dropped like
Oh, really?
30%.
She literally cost them
Yeah.
like millions.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was
It was crazy.
insane. Yeah,
That's the power that they have.
It's what the audience you're building towards,
Yeah.
right? And you know,
Yeah.
how it works and stuff. And like that's the
sucks.
that's the risk and the reward of all this stuff. And you know what I mean? Of like,
Yeah.
like great, I have a lot of Twitter followers, right? Like, what about when Twitter makes a horrible decision and goes away? And then it's like, well, yeah, well, starting over
just
somewhere else,
I
I'll do
know,
whatever.
I know.
Like I have some Instagram people, but that's not the exact same thing. And it doesn't
No.
play for what we want. And people want such different things on it. And that's what I like about it is like, it's the same way of when I started the YouTube channel because I wanted a creative outlet and I wanted to do my own thing and like learn something new. It was fascinating to learn what thumbnails people would click on and what headlines they would click on and like, what entices people to come through and do this. And it was like a game to me, right?
Yeah.
And now Instagram is very much that where it's like, I would put up if I put up a still shot from the show, right? That's just like, oh man, we had a great show. That nobody fucking cares.
Nobody cares.
If
Yeah.
I put up any of the promotional images we use on Twitter, nobody fucking cares, right? It needs to be personal, and it's like, oh, cool. That it encourages me. I remember when taking a selfie was weird. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, why would I ever do that?
Yeah.
Like when selfies
Yeah.
first started to become a thing, and now it's like so second nature. And I love the format and the art form so much, right? In terms of like how to get a good one. What am I trying to say with this?
Yeah.
It is very much like thumbnails of what am I trying to say in this photo? What do I want to show? Taking and like cooking and taking photos of food now, and trying to figure out how that works. Totally.
I know. I think that's one of the reasons why I do like Instagram is like there's a lot more depth to the platform than you initially think.
Yeah.
Stories, for instance, I fucking love. And
Yeah,
I think
when those
so
popped up, I was
good,
like,
yeah.
that's stupid. I don't
Dude,
get blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I love this.
took to that shit.
Greg.
I don't know why.
Can I have more water?
Actually, I do know why I took the stories because I feel like stories for me encapsulated why Snapchat became big in the first place, which is I'm like, I don't want this to be forever. I just
Yeah.
want you guys to
Yeah.
see what's happening with me right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's so
And
funny
if you
'cause
want
when
to, cool. If not, it's not gonna fucking be intrusive on your feed.
Yeah.
It's just me at a stupid mic.
Yeah.
Dealing with my own anxiety of when I go out and try to fail or succeed at these fucking things. Well, no one ever tries to fail, but when I fail or
When I try to
succeed-
fail, I'm too good. I got to go out there and bomb once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta get the
Got to go out
get
there and
the venom
crush
out.
it once in a while. Or get crushed, I guess.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, that's the thing too. Is like I have to again. A reason why I'm glad I have you guys around is because I've been so like I had a big aversion to social media for the longest time because I'm like, well, nobody fucking wants to
Yeah.
know,
Right.
But then like you know what I got to do. But the reality is like there might be some people.
Yeah.
And you know I think
Well, it's
you
about
have to,
finding what you want to do with it, right? I think
well, it's
that's the
that,
biggest
but it's
thing.
also just this, like you have to take it on a leap of faith that what you're doing might not be for everyone, but
Yep.
there might be someone that likes
Yep,
it,
yep,
right?
yep.
And I think that was the biggest disconnect for me is I was like, no one, like everyone's not going to care about what we do. And I was like, well, then why do anything, right? That's not the right
Yeah.
mindset.
Yep,
The
yep,
right
yeah,
mindset
yeah,
is
right,
do
right.
something because you're going to garner an audience that might care about what it is.
Yeah.
And for everyone else that might hate it, fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, fuck them. It's not for you. Go away.
Yeah.
You,
And that's
you don't have to
fine.
follow this shit.
Right.
Yeah. Like there are moments where like I've been a devout follower of Joe Rogan for a while, but I had a little bit of a period where I was like, there's a lot of Joe Rogan. And then he started an MMA show. I'm like, God damn, you got me right back in. Because
You
I
knew
wanted
it should
that.
get me,
'Cause I
Rogan.
wanted that content. Like I didn't want to hear him talk about politics because I just got overwhelmed
Sure.
with politics. But
Well, I mean,
then he
that's
got me back in.
literally what happens with us, right? Or where
Yeah.
we're at is that we've got the business now grown to such a great, sustainable place where we have this core group of show, this schedule every week of what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But what that means, I feel, is like every show now has a very distinct personality.
Yeah.
every show
That's awesome.
has a vibe.
Yeah.
For us, that's great
Yeah.
as a company and being able to say
Yeah.
that. For the viewer who the morning show isn't what they like anymore,
Right.
or GOG is no
Yeah.
longer what they like anymore.
Yeah.
That's hard for them to wrap their head
Yeah.
around that. Okay, well, that's because we feel it needed to transition into something else. And it's
Yeah.
not that you're wrong that it changed.
No.
It's not that, we are right because we did it, but it is that we
It
believe in
needed-
this
yeah.
and this is what it needs to, we think it needs to be. So we move on that way.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to see people, one of the reasons the MCU show did so well and now X-Men's continue to do so well is like so many people are like, oh, this reminds me of Gen 1 GameOverGreggy show where it was they'd talk about one thing for an obscenely long time and
Yeah.
be a bunch of morons and do that. And it's
Yeah.
like, but
That
then there's
show's
other
so
people
much
of
fun.
like, I don't like the bits or I don't like this part. And it's like, okay, well, there's a show somewhere else. Like GOG doesn't have wig conspiracies and fucking theme songs and shit. So like, hopefully you go there and find it. But it is that thing of, cool. It's hard because for a while I think we were able to, but now it's to that point of like, cool. Not everything at Kind of Funny is for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay. You know what I mean?
Luckily, we do so much shit here that you can find something you like if you want to subscribe. Please subscribe. I like to see the subs go up on this channel. I put it out there. I'm one of those weird people that looks at the subscriber count every day and goes, "Why are we down 50 people? God, what happened? What did we do?
Don't do it every day.
I fucking hate it. I gotta stop doing it.
Didn't they just kill a bunch of?
They did
like
bots.
AI
That's what Andy said, but I googled it. I couldn't find any stories about that. So
we're back on the main channel, back below 233 or whatever.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. I literally
had like such a campaign to get to this arbitrary
on the morning
number.
show. I was like, get us to 233, and I opened up the channel. I was like, we're at 233 on the dot. Oops, never mind. And then the next day I looked and it's 290. It's 232 900. I was like, motherfucker. Like, what happens there?
Who cares? Why are you worried about it?
Because I want people to get our content into their fucking brains.
They do. I mean, it's the same thing of just like, we're lucky we have, the audience that's out there that, makes themselves heard and wears the shirts and does these amazing things. Sure. Great. Yeah. But it's like the fact that like, the podcast numbers are always super impressive. I still lose sight of it. I lose sight of it all the time that we think of ourselves as YouTubers. Right. And in reality, we are fucking podcasters.
See, that's the problem. I don't see those podcast numbers. I have no idea how much.
To Tim. We have such a nice set too, Like people should be looking at this.
I mean, I trust me, I totally get it. I don't watch podcasts for the most part.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll tune into a live podcast, if someone's doing it, or like I'll click on the show to just see some clips and things like that. But I like a podcast is a podcast. It's a totally different medium. I totally get that. No, I mean, I think the reason I look at the subscriber number is because I want to see how people are reacting to these new things that we do, or those shifts, right? Sure. Mm-hmm. And I think part of it is my own insecurity of saying like, oh, if 50 people left us, are we not doing the right kind of thing? And I know that it's all subjective, and I know at the end of the day we have to just be us. Yeah. And if you like us, great. If not, I totally understand. That's great. Move on. But then there's also that weird gray area of like, well, us is a broad term. Yeah. Us, I love the MCU, right? But you do question, you're like, people love this. Could we do something else that's like this? Or are we just spreading the audience too thin? It's those internal questions of myself. Specifically for the morning show, I'm like, does it need to be more zany? Does it need to be more news driven? Does it need to be more personality? Like, what can that show be to garner more views on that?
More of the champ. That's what they want.
Well, he's there every morning. Every morning he's there.
Champ's address now.
No, I think he only goes on Fridays.
Champ's address.
What's that?
The champ, he only goes on Fridays.
You missed it today on the show. I now have a daily address. Like the champion is coming.
I was right there.
Yeah, you didn't miss it. You didn't miss it all. You're very
I was
very
clapping
prominent.
the entire time.
You're great. You're a good hype man.
I believe you screamed for Greg, and Johnny Ace will remember.
No. I screamed for the champ.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kevin. While you clap, let me tell you about our sponsor. It's Simple Contacts. This episode of the Game Over Greggy Show is brought to you by Simple Contacts, an easy and convenient way to renew your contact lens prescription or reorder your contacts from anywhere within minutes. Get $30 off your first Simple Contacts order by visiting simplecontacts.com/GameOverGreggy and entering the promo code GameOverGreggy. Usually Tim does this ad read because Tim uses Simple Contacts.
He swears
As
by
you
it.
know, he has those beautiful baby blues that he doesn't want to hide behind glasses, so he does this. What he told me about it before he left today. Tim's sick, by the way. Yeah. Got an upset tummy or something. He's tired.
He felt like he was getting sick before E3,
Okay,
and so I said, "Go home because we need you. You're one of our big guns."
So what he do? You can use your phone for the eye test. You hold it out. You do this. It does the exam. All this jazz. He sent it in. I guess something wasn't right with what he sent in. They immediately hit him up. They're very attentive. They're right on top of it. It's easier, of course, than going there. Simple Contacts points out, of course, this isn't a replacement for your periodic full eye health exam. This is just a good way to get contacts.
Right.
Get good stuff because you don't have to go to the doctor. You can sit there, get them at your house. They're cheaper. Everything's amazing. So just go do that. To save $30 on your first Simple Contacts order, go to simplecontacts.com/GameOverGreggy and enter the promo code GameOverGreggy at checkout. That's $30 off your first Simple Contacts order, and then go to simplecontacts.com/GameOverGreggy, enter the promo code GameOverGreggy at checkout. People love contacts. Get them. I don't know if there's a catchphrase. I just made that. People love contacts. Get them.
I gotta sign Paula up for this because here's what happens. She needs new contacts all the time because she's the 1 day use ones.
Yeah.
And guess who's got to go get them?
You
This
and
guy
Thomas
right
the cat.
Yeah.
You
Is
take
Thomas
Thomas,
going
you
on
put
these
him on your
adventures?
head.
He won't leave. He won't leave.
You don't put him on your shoulder when you leave.
God, I wish he'd stay.
It'd be really cool if he
He
did.
jumps
I can
off
see
every
that.
time.
I can see him doing
Coward.
that. He's got one of those like Cat in the Hat hats too. Not Thomas, Kevin.
Both.
Yeah, no, both have them.
Kevin has it, and then Thomas has a small
thing,
cat.
you
in
get
the
one
hat
of the tall ones, you can fit the cat in there.
You could, and you go. But
I want
top
to
of
be
the
like-
morning, he goes, meow, help me.
No, he's got a little TV set up in there. He's fine.
Yeah,
He's fine.
That's cool.
How has this fast been going?
Good. It's my first time doing a fast. So, are we talking more about this, or I don't know how deep to go on this?
Go on.
Topic?
Go
Good.
deep.
So,
Talking, are we?
Yeah.
Get in there.
Here's how it works.
Get up in the guts, as
my
Kevin
buddy
says.
Marty, who is a fellow
You say that.
comedian, and he's hilarious because he always looks like a dad from the '80s from like Ireland, because
Ireland?
he plays rugby, so
Okay.
he has all the rugby like pullovers.
Sure.
Then he has a chain. It's just his look. He's
He
got a
looks
look
like a dad from the 80s who plays rugby.
like he
I thought,
has.
because you said 80s, I was going like, oh, he looks like an Alan Thicke.
No. I mean,
a
like
guy from
Have you seen
Small
White
Wonder.
Gold?
he kind of no, not like that.
But
Marty-
not the cool guys. I'm saying like the lamer, like the.
He
dude
doesn't
that
look
would be
lame. He just looks
jogging
like
in that world.
he definitely looks like he. I was like, I thought it was ironic. I was like, are you
Yeah.
dressing like this on purpose because you're a comic and this is your character? He's like, no, I just play rugby. So he's got all these old rugby
That sounds like a joke
pullovers
as a response.
that are from his club team,
Yeah.
but they're from like 5 years ago, so they look like they're from the. I mean, the pullover. It looks
sure.
like he went to the Hate and was like, I'm gonna buy, ironically, that pullover and wear it, but
Okay.
it's
Man.
actually someone's from like 1993.
You saying that makes me really worry about what my fashion is going to look like 5 years from now. When
No,
I'm
no.
just wearing, it's just going
The
to be
Mick Foley?
worn out kind of funny shirts.
No,
Sure.
those will be classics.
You know what I mean?
sometime.
Yeah.
Those are going to sell for a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Keep yours, but also buy more. So long story short, the comedian's lifestyle is not necessarily conducive to health.
Sure.
You're out there late at night till 1 o'clock in the morning. You're tired. What better way to wake up than beer? Right? That everyone knows beer, a lot of caffeine in it, get you going.
You strike me at the comedy club. You probably come off a lot like my father does at the job site, where dad's with construction workers, blue jeans, filthy shirts, all stuff. Dad's always in these nice Dockers, this button shirt. They always give him a hard time. They razz him a bit.
Oh
right?
yeah, I get a hard time.
And you don't drink, right? So
No.
you're not drinking at these events. You're just walking around.
Sometimes I'll have a cocktail here and there, but my thing is the reason I don't drink is not because I have any moral or ethical aversion to it. It's because
I've seen you fucked up before.
I
That's
get
not what I'm saying.
I'll
Carbs.
go. I fucking party. It's one, it's carbs, and two, it's because my brain doesn't work necessarily as well. I'm not as fast as I want to be on stage. I get nervous. It makes me more nervous. It slows me down. It's all sorts of things I don't like. Anyway, long story short is I see Marty. Facebook. Hey, I'm starting this new diet. Day one. Oh, I feel like shit. Cool. Of course, I'm in my own little world. What happens?
Is this man fit?
Oh, he's like.
Is this man fit?
I'm trying to understand. Get a picture.
like you're playing
'cause
Guess Who.
He's a rugby. He's
He
a
is.
rugby.
Yeah,
if you
he's
looked
a-
at it,
you know,
he's definitely. If you
thick
looked at him,
man.
he's a guy that you would not fuck with. Right? He's got muscle on him. He's got.
Pretty crazy though.
Well, you are crazy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The normal person, if you looked at him,
I
he
just
does
want to
not look.
clarify for all the best friends listening.
No, he does not look out of shape in any way, shape, or form. But I think was like, I want to lose some fat. Right? He's got a lot of muscle on him. He plays rugby almost every fucking day. He's crazy. He comes in with
a
like
lot of rugby.
That's a
dude.
lot of rugby. Yeah.
Because that's a sport that that
Fucks you
fucks up
up.
your
Well,
brain.
they practice and then they go and they play the game on the
Yeah,
Sundays.
man.
Anyway, long story short, it's 20. Of course, time passes. 21 days later, he's like, "Hey, diet's done.
And he looks
Check
like an
this out,
Adonis.
motherfuck."
Does he look great?
Six
What?
pack.
Six
Oh
pack?
my god! I was like,
Man.
so there's that old Nick that's like, well, clearly my diet's better, and then there's the new Nick that's like, ask him how he did that immediately
Yeah.
because I want a six pack. I want to see if I can do it right.
Yeah.
Stupid and fun, whatever. In the back of my mind, I'm like, E3 is coming up. Maybe this would be a cool way to not overeat
fight
and go
that.
fucking crazy, right? Maybe it'll be a cool thing for me to do. Put it out there that I'm doing this, whatever. So
I just feel like we don't overeat it. I mean, whatever.
well, I don't overeat, but it's one of those
We
where
eat
like
hard at
we eat
E3,
garbage.
Yeah,
'Cause it's like, hey,
that's it.
fucking, it's whatever. We're
Yeah.
done. Let's
We
shove
got
something in your
15
face.
minutes and there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
right, exactly.
place you can
So
buy fries.
for me, it's one of those things that where I'm like, this might be a cool accountability check. Where if I put this out and I'm doing this and like I tell you guys that I'm doing, you're not gonna think I'm weird if I go look for a salad with some protein on it, right?
That's what you do every day.
Yeah, but not at E3.
Okay.
E3,
Yeah.
I usually try not to burden you guys with that. Like, hey, we have to go to this restaurant that's like meat and fucking whatever.
I feel like
it's
E3
whatever
we
it is.
all eat badly.
We
Very,
do.
very
So this is
badly.
my way of saying like I'm gonna get ahead of this and
Sure.
try to just eat
That's
a little
smart.
bit better.
That's good.
See what happens. And also, I can't drink, so that's fine, right? Because drinking usually leads me to.
You usually have a cocktail at
Yeah.
E3. No
I'll have a
drinking this year.
cocktail, then I'll have another cocktail,
Yeah.
and then when we go for pizza,
And then it's like,
fucking pizza
hey,
time.
you want to go to Fat Burger? And it's
Oh,
like,
my
yeah,
God.
we're going to Fat Burger.
So long story short, it starts with a, and a lot of people have been talking in if you listen to health podcasts or people who work out, talking about fasting as a thing that's
Sweeping the nation.
yeah, it's sweeping. It's very on the tip of people's tongues. And so this started. He sent me the pamphlet of this 21-day challenge, and
So
it starts
you're gonna
with a
fast.
24-hour fast. And I was like, "Whoa, this is going to be interesting."
That's a long one.
It's a very long one, and I ran it by my wife, and she was like, "I want to do this." And I was like, "Shit!" And so we figured out the best time for her to do it, because she has long days on Tuesday, would be to start Sunday night 5:00, go all the way to 5:00 Monday night, which is why yesterday, midway through our podcast, I was like, "Oh, it's my time to eat. I got to go fucking eat, because I am 24
Starving.
hours into this thing." And
insane.
Could you feel it? Were you starving?
no, that was the weird thing.
You crossed the threshold of starving.
So that was what was so fascinating.
I'm fucking
about it.
hungry now.
Part of me was like, I wonder how this, because the other thing was Kevin Smith was on Joe Rogan, and he does intermittent fasting now.
Yeah, he's changed everything.
He's
weight
got
dropped
it.
like
God,
40
his heart
pounds.
like nearly exploded.
Weight Watchers ambassador now. I saw
Yeah,
talking on people.
and good for him, because he got a heart attack, and thank God he's still with us.
Thank God.
But he talked about fasting, and how they were having a conversation about that. And one of the things he said, and as well as other people have said, was it's interesting because when you don't eat for a day, and I'm not advocating starving yourself by any stretch of the imagination.
Do
I want
not
people
do
to know
that.
This is something you need to do if you're
Your
going to do
body
it.
breaks down meat first,
Yeah.
then fat.
I'm saying
that.
like, well, potentially. That's the other thing too. Is George St. Pierre talked about it, and he
All
said
right,
that
let's
he does intermediate.
Get out of here with
granted,
your half science.
GSP obviously trains and
Sure.
is working out constantly.
Man trains
but one of the
nonstop,
things
I'm
he said was
sure.
by implementing intermittent fasting and not changing
Yeah.
anything about his diet, he actually retained all of his muscle and has lost like 5 to 6% more body fat.
I'm just saying anorexia is not a good way to lose weight.
No, it's not a good way to lose weight.
Your body is
and
not.
again,
It's not
if
what
you're
it's
going to
supposed
do a controlled fast, understand
Yeah.
what it's going to do to you. Understand,
What did it do to you?
Yeah. Well, for what it was weird. So obviously very hungry.
Yeah.
My last meal was at 5:00 on Sunday. By about 10:00, I was getting those really hard hunger pangs. It was my stomach was cramping up a little bit, but some of it was from nerves because I had to perform that night as well, or go potentially perform. And the other was I had like soda water and things that I was allowed to eat that I don't normally drink.
What are
and it
you
was
allowed
weird.
to drink in this?
Water,
fast?
soda, tea with lemon, coffee. You can have
Okay.
black coffee.
Okay.
But you just can't don't overdo it because you're gonna give yourself a stomach ache. And I think I had.
Yeah.
So that night of sleep was not fun. You're in a weird twilight sleep where your body's like, "Hey, wake the fuck up and eat something," and you're like, "No, I just want to go to sleep." And it'd been a long weekend anyway.
Sure.
Because we were shooting some stuff for the project, and I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. Wake up in the morning, not hungry.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Right? Get to work. And what was weird was I started noticing that I would have the impulse when I was nervous or bored or unsure about something to immediately grab a piece of food. And then, but when you can't eat, you ask yourself, well, am I hungry or do I just want to eat right now? And so your relation, and this is one of the things Kevin Smith talked about, which I thought was very fascinating. He's like, it shifts your relationship to food and makes you question, like, why am I wanting to eat right now? And obviously, I can eat at any point. It's 24-hour fast. Like you can tell yourself, you're fucking hungry. You can eat. You're allowed yourself to eat. But like the other night, I'm through the fast. I felt not great yesterday, but I think a lot of it was because I'm detoxing from this weekend. I had a clusterfest. Spoilers, I fucking ate donuts all weekend. But then I get to the point where I'm allowed to have a meal, but then you can't eat after that, right? And so I'm sitting there at night.
So are you going to fast again now?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm back on a normal eating schedule. Today is veggies, and then tomorrow I'm introducing. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this challenge is because when I looked at it, it said it's basically just clean vegetables and like fresh greens and lean protein, which is what I eat anyway. So it's not that hard for me to do it. I just wanted to see what this first induction period was going to look like. But I noticed that last night I hit 10:00 and I was like, I want to eat, but I wasn't hungry. And I was like, oh, I'm like, this is the pattern that's throwing me off in my life, is that I am bored right now. I have nothing to do with my hands. I've nothing. I have this weird nervous energy because I'm not tired.
Played Far Cry.
And I want to go eat, so I played Far Cry instead.
That's cool.
And then my brain clicked over to, oh, you're doing this thing instead, right? And I know this about myself. I'm a night snacker. My favorite thing to do is put on something I don't need to watch and eat something I don't need to eat.
It's so much fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the reasons why I've been gaining a little bit of weight and not getting to the body composition that I want, is because I'm indulging in those things.
Sure.
And so that's been the most eye-opening part of the fast.
I did a fast with Paula 2 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this. We did the lemonade diet.
Yeah, that's like a detox.
that.
Yeah.
It's a detox.
It's a fast.
Yeah,
it's a controlled fast.
It was fascinating because it was one of those things. She was like, "Hey, I want to do this," and I was like, "Absolutely, seems like a terrible idea."
But I love
To
you. I
help,
mean,
yeah, I'll go in so that you can see the pain that I'm going through, and you'll want to stop.
Yeah.
smart.
Boy, it was easy.
Really?
Yeah.
It's way easier than you think.
It was incredible. It was one of those things. I started it. We went 3 days. I had no problem. The only issue I had is
what was it was just lemonade is all you could drink? Or what?
yeah, it's not even lemonade. It's
lemon water with like cayenne pepper or something.
yeah,
like that.
and it's got 2 scoops of honey in it or something.
Okay, so you're allowed to have some carbs, some
yeah.
calories, yeah. Well, on this one, I think, by the way, when I looked up fasting, there are various degrees of how hardcore you want to do it.
Right.
Some people are like, you should take some vitamin supplements or amino acids, things like that will keep your body going. I didn't do any of that because I stopped reading. It was too long.
Yeah. Well, with this, you're supposed to
All
do.
right. Well, I'm gonna get 6-pack abs.
Well,
again,
because
so whatever.
here's the deal. I was like, the question was, when you say to yourself, I'm starving myself, right?
Yeah.
You say, I'm starving, obviously joking. I look at it more as a fast. People's first reaction is, that's a bad idea. You're going to be, you're going to die.
Your body's gonna eat.
Your body's going to shut down. You can't eat for a day. You're going to shut down. And then when you get through it, you're like, oh, okay. Right? and you start to question, like, I'm not a scientist. We are not scientists. Take everything I'm
Agreed.
saying with
Not
a
even
fucking
botanists.
grain of salt. And if you want to blast me in the comments, please feel free to. Or if you want to put links into why this is a bad or good idea, please, I'll try to look through them. I love
To be fair, I briefly was a scientist. I want to make that clear.
That's fair. Kevin
Science
is a
with
doctor.
Kev
Yeah.
is a hit.
Kevin
segment.
also will do a gynecological exam for you at prom if you'd like him to.
Can't do it. Sorry.
Paul has to be in the room. But one of the things that's interesting
Nurse, bring me the scalpel.
is
Jesus, what are you doing with the scalpel?
I don't know. I've never done a gynecological exam.
Get rid of that cyst.
Cut the pants off.
you
I
don't need
know.
this denim. No, one of the things I found interesting was there's different that you can do a month, 24-hour fast a month, one a week, or you can do intermittent fasting, which is a 16-hour fast. So from the last time you ate to the first time you eat something next, 16 hours, you let that pass, like 12 to 16 hours. That can have some positive effects as well. But you start to think like you just. It's interesting. I like putting myself in these situations where you do question that convention of like, is it a good idea to wake? Because I've always heard, wake up in the morning, eat something. You got to have breakfast.
Jumpstart
your metabolism. Now people are saying that might not be smart.
People
like,
don't know what the fuck they're ever
you
talking
should
about.
listen to your body, and when you're hungry, eat, and when you're not hungry, don't eat.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. Like
That's the thing. Like I
GSP
think,
talking about it was a perfect example where he's like, I don't eat breakfast, and when I'm hungry, I'm usually hungry around noon to 2. I'll go eat. And I'll eat whatever the fuck I want, however much I want. Now, granted, he doesn't have my problem with night snacking and portion sizes because he's a fucking, world-class athlete.
Yeah, then he
but,
rolls for forever, burns all that.
Yeah, that motherfuckers will burn like 5,000 calories a
It's
day.
like Rock when the Rock eats like 9 times or whatever,
Yeah.
a dozen times.
They
in a
have to
day.
be careful
he
about it.
needs to.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if 3 meals a day is the right way to go. For me. I don't know.
I think that's it's one of those things where it's like that's the standard. Like that's what you're supposed to do, but like everyone's body is different, and like we have to figure that stuff out. Like where I think I'm more functional with breakfast.
But who set the standard? And this is where my Wigspiracy comes in, right?
Here we go. Breakfast conspiracy.
Is the standard of breakfast, lunch, dinner, is that a standard that's set that we feel, is set by an organization that is particularly like concerned with health? Or is that
I think that's-
mass marketing that has shifted and shaped that reality?
I think that has to do with how the day is structured.
Because I'm pretty sure if breakfast were to go away, Kellogg's cereal would be like, we got a problem with this. We got to get this back because we are a breakfast food company,
I just think that it's more like people wake
Most
up
important
and they
meal a day?
haven't eaten for
8 hours.
like,
Well, I mean-
even longer
Well,
than
yeah,
that.
you're right,
Yeah,
you're right,
for-
you're right,
like
you're
not
right,
to,
you're
if you're doing the 6:00 dinner, it's been a while.
Oh no! I mean, again,
Well,
I think that's, and I could be completely wrong about this, but I think that's where the term break fast comes
Yeah,
from.
no, 100%.
Is that you have fasted all night
That's where the term
and breakfast.
comes from.
Right.
Break fast, yeah.
So I think that, and so that's the thing is like, but it's funny because you say I'm going to do a fast, people go, oh, you're going to starve yourself.
Yeah. And it's like,
But
well,
in reality,
it's been 13 hours since you
yeah,
eaten last.
and so that's where I find this a very fascinating subject at this point in my life. I was like, what is that? Can I skip breakfast? If I skip breakfast for a week and then go back to eating breakfast, is that going to burn more
Change,
fat? Is that going to kick my body's natural mechanism of burning fat into place or not? I don't know. I'm open to it. Is all I'm saying.
I've never understood why we don't have dinner for breakfast. Why do we
That is
save?
another perfect example.
Hey, you're about to go out and do all this stuff and burn all these calories. Let's let you do all that and then give you the heaviest meal. And I'm being assuming your heaviest meal, your most calories at the very end when you're just going to sit around.
Well, the idea of breakfast food is fascinating to me because there is no difference. Your body does not need cereal in the morning and steak at night. It doesn't care.
Right.
Whatever you want. Like, what if you think about primal man, right?
Yeah.
People out there hunting, like they didn't have the convenience store to pop over and get some Fruit Loops. They ate whatever the fuck they can get their hands on. And I think to a certain degree, if I'm understanding sort of the biology and evolution, we're still very close to that. Where like one of the interesting things about the diet is I woke up today and I can only eat vegetables. Vegetables suck for breakfast.
That's awful.
I had to eat cauliflower for breakfast
What?
this morning. I had a cauliflower rice that I made
No,
with a little
I
bit of olive oil.
understand.
No, I know what cauliflower is.
Yeah.
That's horrifying for breakfast.
But you're why are you having that reaction?
Because like cauliflower sucks, and when you want to start the day, it's just
it's-
you wanted something that's good and easy, like
but
eggs and bacon.
But eggs and bacon. But yeah,
God, I
you
love
can have.
eggs
By the
and
way,
bacon.
and that's the weird thing is like eggs and bacon. You can have for dinner, right?
Oh, I
eat
do
breakfast
many
dinner all the
times.
time. So
Actually, for dinner, I usually do eggs and steak.
well, that's even better.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like we have all these weird societal conventions that we ascribe to, and we never question them.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, like when you get up in the morning, you're told like that breakfast cereal bar or whatever is like that's healthy for you, and you think that's healthy. I'm gonna have this for breakfast, but is it? And like, you know what I mean? Like you think like you, for instance, I think you're good about preparing things for yourself, but like other people, I'll usually cook. I'm much better at being healthier at dinner than I am at breakfast. And then so like why are we like that? I don't know. It's just this whole thing is fucking with my reality. It's making me question everything.
We're back to reality.
Question everything. X-Files.
Yeah.
X-Files. I want to believe. Mulder, Scully. Yeah, I don't know. You guys want to fast with me?
No.
I will
Fuck,
say
again,
this.
I'm starving right now. But for me, it's like I don't know how you.
Just fight through it, dude.
For what we do and the amount of energy to do it, and come on, I'm hungry right now, and I'm like, fuck, I wonder how my bike ride's gonna go tonight. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like I got enough in the tank right now.
Well,
You'll be fine.
that's the weird thing is that perception of I
feeling.
eat and then that gives me energy is 100% accurate. But what I'm trying to do is figure out how to get my body in that place where it goes, oh, I haven't eaten for a while. Well, I'll go to my natural reserves, which is the fat, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is the hardest thing to do, especially with the way a lot of modern food hits your metabolism, how it metabolizes, a lot of sugar, a lot of things that spike that insulin first, is we don't allow our bodies to have those natural mechanisms come to fruition, right?
Sure.
We go, oh, I'm hungry right now. I have to eat or I'm gonna fucking die. In reality,
lunchtime right now. I
Right.
have to eat right now, so I must
exactly.
be hungry.
Oh, I
yeah.
must be hungry,
Yeah.
right?
That's
and
the
so, and
worst,
that's a
yeah.
perfect example
Yeah.
of like it's 12 o'clock. How many times do I think, oh, I get to eat?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really. I'm not hungry, but I get to eat. I
Yeah.
can't skip this meal. But in reality, maybe I'd be better off if I did skip lunch when I'm not hungry and just ate at 2
Yeah.
or ate at 3. Like these are arbitrary times that we've chosen,
Sure.
which is totally weird. Like I could get up, not have breakfast, have one gigantic meal in the middle of the day, and maybe be totally fine for the rest of the day. I don't know. That's what I'm experimenting with right now.
You're out there living large, man.
I'm fucking
I
living
appreciate
life.
it.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go chasing the big piles. Well, it's like when we used to do like underdog burritos, right?
Yeah.
Like if we did that
I
at
miss
lunch
them
or
so
whatever, I'm not gonna eat dinner. I'm fine. Like you know what I mean? Just coast. Like
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
need to. Like that's
You don't
way
have
too
to.
much food. Yeah.
And again, of course, I know I'm living proof of like I have problems with portion control, which is another reason why I wanted to do the fast, because I wanted to like see if I could reset my brains. I was noticing that like I'm getting more and more unhealthy as we work harder and harder and harder. So I'm like, I wonder if there's a way I can reset that where I think, oh, I have to pay a little more attention to that, because it's just a matter of making it a priority again. So it's just me doing that.
One of the things after we did the lemonade diet thing or whatever it's called.
Where it's just you can eat whatever you want at Lemonade 3 meals a day.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be a great diet. I love that place.
I love Lemonade. Tim
Kevin
hates
hates
it so
it.
much. Kevin hates it too.
Oh yeah, no, I hate that place.
We're all crazy
It's
people.
awful.
It's
It's
The
too
food,
expensive.
it's expensive.
It's
It's
good food.
confusing
It's
as
good
fuck.
food. It's
I've
not
never
that confusing.
Every time I get to the end, I'm like, "Fuck! I wanted that. Why would they
why
put
didn't
that
I
here?"
get that? It's true.
Why
It
don't
should
you
be a
take a look?
circle. It should be a circle.
Yeah,
I'll agree
yeah.
to layout. Could be.
No beginning, no end.
Anywho, I was saying, fuck, I don't know where I was going. That sucks. Oh,
Lemonade.
portion control.
Yeah.
After doing it, it was so interesting to be like, huh, I'm definitely like, I'm not used to eating anything because now it's been 3 days and
Yeah.
that was like, so it is very much like I could serve myself a smaller portion and I feel like, oh, this is as much as I need. So
Oh, yeah.
hopefully that you get that out
Oh,
of
I've
there.
already noticed
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
But that's another thing too. Is like I struggle with portion control, and I struggle with like still to this
Don't
day
we
like,
all?
eating too much, right?
Yeah.
It's just
fun.
the way it is.
Yeah.
And the food is fun. It
The pain
provides
feels good a
a
little
lot
bit.
of pleasure, and it's fantastic, right? And so if you put a burrito in front of me, what's better than one burrito?
Two
burritos, right?
It's so true.
So it's almost like when you do something like and I don't necessarily recommend crash diets or fad diets like this. This is actually probably the first time in a really long time I've indulged in this. But I did it because I want to see if I can be that boss for myself who goes, no, you're like, can I stay on this strict diet? And what can I learn from that? Because if I could do anything, I'd love for there to be two of me. The one of me that goes, it's party Nick, and the other one that goes, no, you're going to have discipline, because discipline is like the way you achieve all the goals that you want. That's going to lead you to happiness. So yeah, I mean, I've already noticed that like you're only allowed to have certain specific types of portions. And my brain goes, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then my body goes, well, you've eaten it. It's been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're okay. You have energy. You're fine.
Yep.
So we'll see tonight when I go roll if I pass out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with everyone and let you know tomorrow if I have a bad night rolling. I didn't go last night because I was like very lightheaded and feeling nauseous a little bit from I think either the detox or just the severe calorie deficit. But I also woke up this morning 4 pounds lighter than I was the day prior. So I'm like, most of it's water weight, by the way. But fascinated. I'm like, this is fascinating.
Lost 12 pounds when we did it for those 3 days.
How quick
Weird.
you get them back on?
Oh, right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll put them back on fast.
That's the weird thing about diets like that, right? Where I feel like
Well, that's the thing. Like, you have to remember that, like, that is the, like, start of it. You have to then continue to eat healthy and make wise decisions.
Yeah.
Because, like, what did we do when we ended it? We went and had breakfast in this diner that I love and had
Did you get
giant
pancakes?
food.
Yeah.
And it was like that day, like, I overate, but it felt so good, you know? Well,
Yeah.
So fucking
If you didn't know, this has been the Game Over Greggy Show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 3 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get each and every episode early. How early? You could be watching it live, or you could watch it the Friday before it goes up on youtube.com/kindafunny. Of course, the only way to get the pre-show and the post-show is to watch live or give us the money for the $10 version of the video on the Friday before it goes live. I almost have a new intro outro ready.
Okay.
Because I crafted the table, you know?
Test it
And
out.
we're getting there. We're
Yeah,
getting
let's
there on
test it
this
out.
new one. We're getting there. We are.
Oh.
Yeah,
it's being
it's
tested
happening right now.
You're
It's a
watching the
little
test.
different.
I'm in it?
Yeah, you're in
We're
the
in the
test.
machine?
You're in
We're
the
in the
machine.
computer?
Yeah, of course.
Great. So simple.
If you're watching early on Patreon, we're on E3. Whole bunch of stuff to watch. We talk about all the game stuff. I'm sure you know it. If you're watching it when it goes up on YouTube, hey, we just got back from E3.
If you're watching late,
Go watch
E3,
all that.
you know?
Yeah, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. See all that stuff there.
If you're watching live, you can get the full schedule, kindafunny.com/E3.
They know what they know.
Yeah.
They're fine.
I'm just letting you know. If you're like, oh, E3, what's that? We'll go. We're going to do a lot of cool shit.
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Thanks for watching the Game Over Greggy Show, everybody. Click here to subscribe to us on youtube.com. Click down here to subscribe to us on patreon.com, which gets you early access to the shows, pre and post shows, all sorts of cool stuff. Click over here for a playlist of the Game Over Greggy Show, and click down here for Cool Greg's Cool Time. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm the champ. Nick Scarpino sucks.